All right, I believe we are live and ready to begin our Utah OHV Advisory Council meeting. My name is Ron Coleman and I'm the chairman. And welcome to those who are in person, both council members and the public, and also any of those who are online. Let's go ahead and go around. First, let's go around the room and introduce those who are here in person. And then Rachel, maybe you could name off the people that are online in order and have them introduce themselves. Cheryl, can we start over here with you?
Yeah, I'm Cheryl Butler. I'm the Forest Service representative.
I'm Eric Nelson. I'm the dealership representative.
My name is Scott Beaver and I represent the motorcycle interests.
And I'm Ron Coleman. I am the full-size four-wheel drive representative.
Kirk Chester, the snowmobile representative.
Have the visitors go ahead and introduce yourselves as well.
I'm Wade Allenson with Emery County Search and Rescue.
Greg Punk, Emery County Sheriff. Brett Stewart, Utah OHV Advocates.
And Rachel?
Yeah, I'm Rachel Toker. I'm the OHV grant administrator. Pitt, do you want to go first?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Pitt Three. I'm the new director of the Division of Recreation. Sorry I couldn't be there in person today. I'm getting pulled 17 different directions with this session, but it's good to see you all.
Brody?
Brody Johnson, ATV representative.
And then Tyson.
Tyson Todd with the Trust Lands Administration representative.
Jason?
Jason Blankenagel, member at large.
Great, thank you.
That everybody? Okay. Great. Well, thank you and welcome. This will be our first meeting without our trusty leader, Chris, here to keep us in line. So hopefully we are somewhat in line on our own. Real quick, before we continue on with our agenda, we would like to make a change to the order of our agenda. And I've been advised that this has to be voted on by the council. Pitt Rui is with us online, and he would like to give his program and legislative update right after public comment before we get into anything else. I would entertain a motion to make that change.
I'm Eric. I'll make that motion.
Kirk, I'll second it.
Sure, do you have a second?
And all those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any names?
I don't think we need names for that.
Okay.
I guess.
So Pitt, we'll give you some time right after the public comments. Thank you. Rachel, do we have any online public comments or any that have been emailed in?
We have not received any that have been emailed in, but we do have 2 people in the room who may want to make comments.
Right. So who would like to make a public comment here for the public? Public comments.
Is this the time to talk?
No, not yet. I'm just trying to get a feel for, so are all 3 of you here to speak or?
I am, yeah. We just want to talk about our grant application and just
Okay.
kind of introduce it to the community and.
Okay. Well, I'll turn to give you a few minutes. Go ahead and
Okay.
make your comments.
Thank you. Most of you know me. I'm Wade Allenson, and I'm the second lieutenant of Emery County Search and Rescue. This is Greg Punk, the sheriff of Emery County, and you'll notice in our application, it's a request for a side-by-side. And just to let you know, we've been a good partner with state parks over the years, and we've submitted a grant in the past. Nothing quite this big, but we're excited to partner up with the state parks. As many of you know, Santa Fe Swell's a hot spot. It's probably in the top 4 in the state. And we're quite busy out there on the Santa Fe. We have a lot of rescues, a lot of side-by-side rescues, motorcycle rescues, a lot of motorized rescues. We do everything from, we had 2 in December. In the Chimney Rock area, we had 2 broken legs within a week of each other, within a quarter mile of each other on the same trail. So we're pretty busy, and we do have a need of a side-by-side four-seater. We would like, currently we don't have one. We have a couple smaller 50-inchers. We just feel this would be a good asset to our search and rescue operation and good support to OHVs. We've seen a lot of advertising and things like that on the swell in recreation and OHV and different partners, and all of that equates to more people equates to more rescues. It's just what it is. You put more people in the place, you have more opportunities, and people have an expectation when they go out and recreate. They have an expectation to be able to call for help, and we provide that service. You'll see our grant application is for a side-by-side. We're looking at fully equipping it, about $29,000. We're going to match it with a cash match of $6,000, which those funds are very sacred to us. They're not taxpayer funds. They're funds that we go out and do fundraisers on. So, and then we didn't include it in our grant application, but if at the end of the day, when you start adding zeros and stuff together, if there's any money left over, we would like to include an enclosed trailer. Over the last 3 or 4 years, we've got a couple motorcycles for you guys, and then we've had other sponsors match them. We'd like to get a trailer for that and match it with an in-kind for our time. We have plenty of time to add to it, and I talked to the sheriff about it. And we understand that there's some issues with that, but nevertheless, if at the end of the day you guys have extra money, we would sure put it to good use. So, does anybody have any questions for me? Yes.
How much would you be requesting an additional to the 17,750?
$10,000.
$10,000?
Yes. Yes. We want a 7x16. That will put all the bike in, and then another $1,000 for all the locking mechanisms to keep the bikes in and some shelves in it. So, and 2 tires. We have to have 2 spares when we go out and do business because it's a lot of gravel roads and a lot of flat tires. So.
And and you said that you would be able to meet the match requirement with that $1,000.
We'll meet that. We'll meet that with labor.
Labor?
Yes. We just don't have the funding to meet it with cash, but we would certainly be glad to meet that with our time in rescue operations. But the side-by-side would definitely meet with the cash match.
Okay. Last question, not pertaining to your grant.
You can have more questions.
Someone is on their way with a projector, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll be here in about 5 minutes.
Awesome.
They were leaving on 150 East Center. The only thing I ask is if anybody lives here, if you can drop it back off tomorrow or the next day. It's not mine, but.
I will find a solution.
All right.
We will get back to you. Okay.
Yeah, you can do it in a couple of days. It don't matter, but it's just tomorrow from another office.
Any other questions?
The only thing I'd like to add on this is Greg Funk. We are strictly a volunteer basis down there, and we have 40 guys on our team. And really, I can't say enough about these people. They are the true heroes. I go out there with these people, and it's amazing to me, whether it's the heat of the summer, I can take these guys down there. It's dusty, hot, miserable, and we go on a search. Everyone has such a great time. And if I take my deputies, they're complaining and I'm paying them because how horrible the conditions are. And like I said, I can't say enough about our search and rescue. I truly feel we have probably one of the best search and rescue groups out there. I mean, many of you guys know Wade and you know the caliber of person he is. So, and I've got 40 of these guys. So that says a lot about our group, and they go in, they fundraise, they supply all of this, so they're not a burden on our tax base. I mean, our tax dollars down there are precious, and I'm trying to run a whole county sheriff's department with it, and that's what we just appreciate the opportunity to partner with you guys in these situations, because it is a huge asset and a help to us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Not to mention if we have a rescue that goes like into the night, Greg makes his wife come cook his dinner, so. Any other questions, Scott?
I do have a question. I'm looking at the grant right here.
Like you have questions.
I do have a question.
I can't imagine leaving this meeting without a question from Scott.
Always.
I just see that you don't have any in-kind match, and I know how much time you guys, well, I don't know how much, I just know you spend a lot of time out there. So that column would have a lot of in-kind match of time out there. I just wondered why you didn't put anything in there. I mean, I realize you got plenty in this cash match, but you could have matched it with in-kind and not had to spend as much money.
Well, because I'm lazy. I'm lazy. It's just, you know, we're taxed so much. Like this last week, I spent just maintaining our equipment. I bet I spent 15 hours this last week maintaining equipment, changing tires on the trailers. And I did oil changes, I did air filters, and it's just, when you're taxed so much, even coming down here, I took 2 hours of vacation day to get off of work to come down here. And it's just, I know our funds are precious, but it's just easy for me to say, here's $6,000. It's just easy for me to give you that 6, close the grant out and be done with it. Although I kind of shoot myself in the foot, because I am going to tell you, I'm going to match the trailer by service. And, so I recognize that doesn't make a lot of sense. This may be the projector.
Yes, there's some out there.
So, but yeah, you're right, and we can do that, and I would have no problem matching it as well. If everybody can give her Pell a hand.
Yeah.
Thanks, Laura.
Pay close attention to wages.
But you're right, Scott, we can match that, no problem, and we will with this trailer. We'll definitely get the hours in, and I won't be so lazy, and I'll get them in.
I don't think lazy is a good option.
Yeah.
Can you tell me approximately how many calls a year your team responds to?
Yeah, we're easily at 40 call a year for OHV related. And that's factoring out Jeeps, size, just motorcycle, ATV, OHV. We're probably 100 calls. That would include everything. Our big things we do is ATV, motorcycle. On snowmobiles, we do get, because most of our area is San Francisco. And we kind of rely on them for their expertise.
You'll typically have 15 guys respond to a call, 40 calls, 8 hours a guy. I don't think it's very hard to add up the hours here.
It is. I was telling Greg, I talked to him today, I was going to present this for the possibility of a trailer, and I said, you know, it's pretty easy to do. Because, you know, literally, when we take off for a rescue, we go down the Goblin Valley, get down there. We're driving an hour and 45 minutes just to get there, let alone before we stop. But anyway, we just hope that over the years and that you guys come out there and notice that we're just a good partner with you. And I know this is sacred money for you guys as well. We would definitely get support with you on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Is it monitor in or tutor out?
Hey, Ron,
Okay.
So if there's any questions as we go.
Okay. Okay. All right. If you have one, let me know. Okay. We'll turn that over. And you introduce yourself?
I'm Nick Carter.
Good noise.
You're late.
Yeah, we're in public comments. Were you here to make a comment today, or?
I was here to answer any questions if there were in our application.
Okay, well, when we get to that, we'll give you some time. Okay.
Right?
Can we see it with the lights on, or is it just going to be?
We should be able to.
I know last time we did this, man, after a while. Started getting in the head. No, I guess it might not be right enough. Let's see what it looks like.
Rachel.
Yeah, I texted him.
Okay. We're working on, just those of you that are online, we just got a projector here in the room and we're working on technical stuff for just a moment, if you could bear with us.
I just love that we had to have someone run us over.
On your screen right here.
This?
Hey, Nick? Yeah. Can you share the screen?
I don't think you're gonna be able to. Here.
Just got it there.
I know.
That's where you're at.
It's really like, I was doing the same, that they were trying to fill 20 positions, they hired 7.
Did it recognize the password?
Yeah.
Did it give you an option to click on the, what it recognized?
No.
So how does it, seems like statement for sure.
You can just push one of these buttons.
Why are you calling it? Oh, it's one of
Don't push buttons.
It's such a weird. Yeah, it's gonna be such a devices.
Yeah.
Social.
So it should just, when you plug it in.
Yeah, I've never had an issue.
Yeah. Maybe Scott come work for you. He's retired now.
I don't know.
This will fix all our issues.
Yeah.
It just laughs.
I'm having a no week.
There you go.
Yes.
That's a week where I tell.
Okay. Oh, good. That isn't that such a
Maybe it's fabulous, and I've extended it to no months. No years.
150.
Nicely done. So I look forward to that.
And it's the adult probation for office.
It's the adults.
I'm retired and
That's in the basement. One thing in the basement, that building, if you have a problem,
it's called soon.
Okay.
Time.
Thank you.
And then you go.
Kind of adjust it here.
I had a no week, and it was the most, I told everybody but the neighbor that's in the Williston. He asked me to take his garbage out, and I said, I didn't tell him I would. I just said, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Everybody else, I said, no. And they were,
Oh, sure.
and you know what? Half of the people I told no to figured it out on their own.
He did not.
They did it.
We try this.
Hey, those are plates to eat on.
There's more. There's more.
What if you flip them over the other way?
Might be a little better. How's that?
It'll do. We have it.
Try to make it.
Should we go ahead and continue?
Yes.
Rachel, you're good. All right. Rachel, thank you for being patient. While we get this projector set up, we'll continue setting it up here in the background. Let's go ahead and move on our agenda. The next item is the program and legislative update from Pitt Brewing. Pitt, you can take a few moments and introduce yourself a little more fully and go ahead and give us a program and legislative update.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate it. And again, I apologize for not being able to be there in person tonight, but look forward to many future meetings with all of you and everything else. So, and also thank you to Emory County Search and Rescue. Obviously, all of our search and rescue teams around the state are hard at work all the time, making sure people are staying safe and all that are out there recreating, and we really appreciate all the work they do. So yeah, quick introduction. as you guys all know, Chris Haller retired. He is sitting in a rocking chair somewhere in Arkansas, enjoying life, nice and quiet, watching the river roll by. And we wish him luck and definitely miss him and his experience and expertise here in the Division of Recreation, but happy that he's enjoying some time off for sure. So with that, I was put in place as the division director in the fall, in late October, early November. My background, I come from the Office of Outdoor Recreation, which is in the governor's office. Prior to that, I've worked in the outdoor industry for many years. Grew up in a family business with snow vehicles and snowcats. So I grew up running around with snowcats. My dad was a snowcat salesman all over the West to ski resorts and snowmobile grooming facilities and every place else. So have a deep passion for snow, any type of playing in the snow, and with machines, with skis on my feet, sleds, pulling kids around, doesn't matter what. If you're on the snow, if I'm on the snow, I'm pretty happy no matter what. So with that, starting being in this position and standing up a new division, as many of you probably know, right, there's a lot of questions still of how we're splitting out of state parks and pulling these programs out of state parks and the mission of these programs moving forward. I just want to instill with you, confidence that, we truly believe this is a great thing for Utah that's going to help to get more dollars on the ground, supporting the communities, supporting the people recreating. So whether it's motorized recreation, whether it's on-water recreation, whether it's non-motorized recreation, all of this division is going to help to move all of them forward, get more funding for all of those, help support things like infrastructure, search and rescue, education, all of that for recreation across the state of Utah. So excited for that. So with that being said, update on a program manager for the OHV program. We have been holding interviews, and I'm sure nobody is going to be surprised that the state moves slowly, and it's a slow process a bit, as most things are at a state level. But we have held interviews. We're trying to fill that position as quickly as possible. We've had some great candidates. We're going to continue doing that. And as soon as we have somebody selected, obviously, we will update this committee and introduce them to it, as that person will be your point person moving forward for all things off-highway vehicle. So we're hoping to get the right person in there to help continue on the legacy that Chris was able to establish and all the great things that he did, and to take the program and continue to grow it and take it to the next level here in Utah. So I will give you an update as soon as we have somebody filling that position, obviously, and we'll make it a point for them to get around and visit all of you and get familiar with your backgrounds and where you're coming from. Let's update you on a few things that's happening with the legislative session as it applies to OHV use, and then let you guys ask a few questions and I'll answer what I can from there. But a couple of bills that we are watching and have a impact on the Office of Outdoor, the Division of Recreation and the OHV program. So one of them is House Bill 180. And you are all lucky enough to have Brett Stewart in the room there today, and he can ask you, or you can ask him questions as he's worked hard with this. He's worked hard with our office as well to make sure that this is a very valuable bill and something that we need here in the state of Utah. But basically what this does is it's an additional education requirement for all the new users and people coming to ride OHVs and recreate here in the state of Utah. So basically everybody was required to pass a really simple certification in class that talks about, anything from, trail etiquette to how to close a gate to, what the laws are and expectations and everything else. So good for everybody, as we've seen a huge increase in new users. And a lot of that just comes down to lack of knowledge and education on how to properly recreate and how to be respectful. This will hopefully help us to maintain access all over the state, keep gates open, keep fences down, and help making sure that we continue to recreate responsibly. On top of that, it has a part in the bill that is also increasing the repercussions for people that do break the law using it. So it will require, instead of just a fee, $150 fee for going off trail or whatever it is, it's going to require any damage done to the land, any damage done to the trail, anything like that will be punished with community service on that trail. So people are required to come participate in community service to restore any damage that they did. So, and then on top of that, the other part of this bill is with the requirement for a license plate, which a license plate will be required, but not on motorcycles or snowmobiles or husbandry vehicles, but for anybody out recreating. That is to help our law enforcement better identify bad users or bad players out there, and a little bit of identification there help to recognize that and pursue anybody that is causing damage. So again, Brett Stewart is in the room with you today, and I would encourage you, if you have questions specifically about this bill, he is the expert on this, and like I said, he's worked with us hard. So we support it, and we think this is a great move, and really set the standard nationwide to make sure that access is maintained and the proper education and enforcement is happening to maintain that access for people. So I encourage you to talk to Brett if you have any questions about that bill. The next bill that we're looking at is, and this is just a small one, is House Bill 206. This will be added into any OHV trainings. It'll also be added into the hunter education trainings and things like that. But it's basically, and I know this sounds a bit silly, but it's basically a bill to tell people how to close and open gates properly when crossing through gated pieces of property, for the sake of ranchers and property owners that have easements or ranch lands and range lands there. Making sure that you close the gate behind you. Something that seems pretty simple for those of us that have been around and recreated for many years on public lands, but again, with a lot of new users, this type of education. So this will just be a simple program that we'll add to our already OHV education programs, the hunter education program. It'll be a few minutes to discuss, how to navigate gates and take care of as you move forward. Next bill is House Bill 305, and this is by Representative Ferry, and this is a cleanup bill to what basically created the Division of Recreation. So with this, the Division of Recreation, the Office of Outdoor Recreation, which is in the governor's office, will be merging into the Division of Recreation. So the division will be the one-stop shop for all things recreation, whether that's grants, planning resources, community outreach, economic development, things like that. So with that, the RTP grant, the OHV FIG grant, the UORG, which is the Utah Office of Outdoor Recreation grant, also Land Water Conservation Fund, and I think that's all. I think we got it all covered there. All of those will be housed under the Division of Recreation. So when a community has a potential project or whatnot, they'll be able to come to the Division of Recreation, and we'll be able to help them navigate and say, look, here's federal dollars, here's state dollars, here's how you can match, here's what best fits the type of project that you're working on. It'll make it easier for communities so they're not having to go around to multiple sources for recreation opportunities and funding around the state. As part of that, we're cleaning up some of the committees on this, and Representative Ferry's been good to work with us on this, but this advisory council that you're all on right now will remain intact and still work with the FIG grant process. As far as the RTP we will be merging the UORG grant committee and the RTP committees, adding seats to make sure there's seats for motorized recreation onto those committees. And they will be working through the grant process of scoring and allocating the funds from those grant funds moving forward. So this is a pretty big bill. Just there's a lot of things changing for the two divisions and the office. But again, I think it's great that we're consolidating, and with this, most likely there'll be some additional funding resources to help fund outdoor recreation across the state, which will obviously address search and rescue issues, will maybe address some land acquisition issues needed or easements needed for recreational access, and we'll be able to also probably have some funding to address additional education and outreach to communities for all types of outdoor recreation. So we're excited about this, and a big lift for the Division of Recreation. Let's see. The last bill is Senate Bill 72, and again, this is really a simple bill. This is just altering the weight classifications for some of the side-by-sides. Polaris is the one that worked on this bill, but basically it's just upping the weight limit from 2,500 pounds to 3,500 pounds because Polaris and a lot of the industry is seeing that with new safety features and things on side-by-sides, that they're approaching that 2,500 pound limit, and they just want to give themselves a little more buffer in the classification of some of these all-terrain vehicles. Really simple, pretty neutral on it. It meets with standards that are happening within the industry, so not a very controversial bill. Lastly, let me just say this, and I think this is a pretty exciting thing, because I know your council has been talking about this past, and Chris has really worked on this hard over many years, and many other people here in the state of Utah. We proposed to the Appropriations Subcommittee funding the High Desert Trail out of the OHV Restricted Fund, $1 million. So this would be the High Desert Trail, which crosses 7 counties, makes an off-road trail from Washington County all the way up to Box Elder County out there in the West Desert, winds all over the place into some really amazing places. And it's about 690 miles, the trail. All the roads are already there, or trails are already there existing. This is just the goal to connect them, signage, staging areas, bathrooms where we may need bathrooms, access points for people coming in and out of communities to hop on these trail systems. Beaver County, Millard County's really worked hard on this, Tooele and Box Elder County as well. All the county commissioners are supportive and excited about this. We proposed it to the Appropriations Committee. They were really excited about it, and it's getting a high rating coming out of the Appropriations Subcommittee, and favorable to fund, which is great. So we expect that to happen. So with that, the $1 million would come into the Division of Recreation, and we would turn around and stand up a program separate from FIG. You can still use FIG dollars for some of these projects, but this money will be specifically used for High Desert Trail. So then we'll help to distribute that to the 7 counties and the players that are involved here to complete that High Desert Trail with, trail crew work, and like I said, signage, kiosks, everything else that's needed. It'll be a really great asset for the state of Utah to market. We'll work with the Office of Tourism on this as well to start telling the story of the High Desert Trail, to bring people here to try it out if they want to do a week-long trip and spend a lot of time out there in the desert and camp and whatnot, or if they just want to do short sections on the weekends and piece it together and visit communities like Delta and Enterprise and some of these communities that could really use a little bit of visitor dollars in their economies and in their communities. And so really excited about the High Desert Trail. I know it's been in works for a long time, and I'm just lucky that this year has the stars have aligned and we've made this ask, and the legislature is really excited and favorable for this project. So all right, I know I talked fast and I went through a lot of information, but if there's any questions, I can answer a few questions here, or, you can always reach out to me personally. Happy to have a phone call with you individually, or pass emails back and forth and share any information with any of you. So thanks for the time. Appreciate it. And again, thanks for all you do, and thanks for all the work you guys put in to helping the program continue to move forward and be the strong program that it is.
Any questions for Ben?
This is Brody. I just have one simple question. On this HB 180 with the training, if somebody has already gone through an in-person training, do they still have to go through this video training?
It's a once in a lifetime training, right? It's not going to be every year when you register your vehicle or anything like that. I don't know if we've addressed people that have already done the training in the past, if we can get a pass on that, or if they're gonna have to go through this new training. You want to answer that?
Yeah, so 18 and under, if you don't have a driver's license, you're required to do the driving test and the written test. If you're 16 and older with a driver's license, this will be an online 20-30 minute at the most, once in a lifetime education class. We're just going to get a few points, and then you get a certificate and you print it off or take a screenshot or whatever, and you're done forever. So that's what it'll be.
So maybe that didn't quite answer my question, but so if somebody has gone through an actual in-person ATV safety course, the one that's like 4 hours, 5 hours long, will they need to do the video also? And then why are we doing a video when, it seems like somebody could push play on a video, get on their Nintendo and start playing games and have mom answer the test for them. Why are we relying on video to train people on things that are supposedly pretty important instead of more in person?
We're going to get the bill passed.
Uh-oh. They freeze on you, Brody?
Yeah, it froze on me.
All right, froze for a second. Brett, will you repeat it?
So this will go in effect on January 1st of 2023. If the bill passes and becomes law, we'll start looking into the best way to do it. It may just be a quiz. It might be a video. It's going to be a maximum of 20 to 30 minutes. And it'll be required for everybody that has a highway vehicle. And if you're a youngster that's already got your junior license, it won't be required. They've already passed the test. It's just trying to educate. For an example, down in your area, Brian Carter, the district manager, has problems with people going off road, and a lot of folks are getting into the sport that might be my age that have no clue what the rules are, what the laws are. So we're just going to give them a jump start, try to help educate them to protect what we're constantly fighting to keep open. So it's just a small. Have you ever taken I think when you launch your boat, you have to take an online class once a year to gather antlers. You have to take a 20-minute online test once a year. It'll be similar to that. So how else can I answer you, Brody? We're fighting our guts out to protect our access, and we got idiots that go on and off trails.
I definitely get that, and I'm all for training. I love training, but I'm more of a in-person, hands-on kind of a person. And I think the only way you can get through some of these people that have thick heads and do their own thing and don't care what other people have to say is you actually have to meet with them face to face. I think you're going to find, maybe I'm wrong, I think you're going to find with video and online stuff, I bet you're going to find a lot of cheating going on, and nobody's going to learn anything, but it just feels good that we did that. So that's why I think that at least for under 18, it ought to be in person and required. Maybe over 18, do the video. But if we don't get these kids trained now correctly, we've even shown through the pandemic, online schooling is terrible. And so you got to have face to face.
But that will still be in place for the youngsters, 18 and under. They have to do the driving test and the written test. Unless you have a driver's license, you already know how to drive, so we made them exempt from the driving part of it, but they have to do all this. It's not a class, it's an educational video or test. There'll be a quiz at the bottom, and if you try to get one for gathering antlers, I took it just to see what it was all about. It's pretty cool. You have to follow certain restrictions. The reason Representative Chu is running one on gates is because you and I know that you have to shut a gate. If you approach a gate that's shut, you shut it when you go past it. But does a guy from California know that? Does a guy from Colorado know that? You know, do people that have never been outdoors before jump into the sport, do they know that? So there's a lot of things we're just trying to combine to educate them, give them a jump start, even though the laws are in place. It's better than nothing. Right now, we have nothing.
Yeah, and I think Brody, to help answer that question as well. I mean, Brett said this, but we'll look into the platforms and using the platforms that make it so that a cheat through just turning on the video, push and play, and letting it go, isn't capable of, requiring quizzes or to answer certain questions or whatever to move on to the next section. I know at state of Utah, we have to do a lot of those for just work trainings for, whatever safety and everything else to make sure. And you can't just skip and, or turn it on and play, leave the room and come back and be certified or whatever. So we'll definitely look into the platforms. We have a year. If this passes, like I say, we have a year to get this system implemented and making sure that we can, it's effective. It's as effective as we can possibly make it with the resources that are allocated.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Let me make one more comment. For example, a lot of the folks that even maybe are in this room, well, I wouldn't say that. The majority of the people don't realize why is a 50-inch pinch point through the forest? Why is it 50 inches and not 60 inches and 80 inches? It's because most of the time it's in a roadless area. You can't build a road, but we can build trails all day long in a roadless area. So we're going to educate people, instead of saying, hey, I pay tax dollars, I should be able to go on this trail. They don't realize that it's in a roadless area, and that's come from the Clinton administration. He's the one that adopted that. So we're just going to try to give people a little jump start education. And then if you break the law, then you get caught and you'll come back and fix it rather than write a check.
Brett, I have a question for you.
Okay.
It said the bill will require a license plate on what machines?
Not street legal. So non-street legal will require a plate, but we excluded motorcycles and snowmobiles and husbandry. So ATV and UTV. Require to have a plate. So that we can identify the law breakers. It'll be tan with black letters, number. So it's not too old.
All right, well, thank you, Brett, for giving us some more information on that. Thank you, Pitt, for your time.
I have a quick question if I.
Yeah, go
I may.
ahead. Go ahead,
So,
Cheryl.
Pitt, this is Cheryl Butler. I just had a question. You briefly mentioned that we would be merging the RTP councils with the UORG council and that there would be positions there for motorized. I'm just curious, are the councils going to be involved in that discussion at all to make sure we still have as robust of participation as we have right now for reviewing those grants? We have 11 people on this council, all representing different types of motorized use. I have a hard time imagining that's going to carry over into the UORG council or that becomes really big. And the same with the non-motorized RTP. You've got 11 council members representing a variety of non-motorized users. How does that look and still maintain that kind of representation?
Yeah, good question, Cheryl. The motorized will be tricky, and I think we'll rely on this council and others to help us navigate that. The non-motorized in the UORG actually, they actually have very similar requirements on a lot of the positions. Like there was overlap on, and that's why it was kind of strategy that way. There was overlap maybe on 8 of the 12 positions, right? Of representation from public lands, representations from tourism, representations from youth group or youth recreation, things like that. That there was a lot of overlap. So that one, is a lot easier. Now we're adding a couple positions in motorized to help because that's where it was lacking. It didn't have that representation on motorized. but also trying not to have a council of 22 people, which is kind of difficult to manage, obviously, and keep it at a manageable level. I think the new one, at last part of the bill I saw, the new one would have 17 seats total on that council. So it will definitely be, we'll definitely rely on this council here to help us to fill proper seats and find ones that, you know, not all of them have to be defined by motorized and non-motorized. For example, you know, we may have a seat that's representing tourism, right, on the council that's required in statute, but that doesn't mean it has to be non-motorized tourism. It could be, right, that tourism seat is filled by a motorized seat as well. So then when it's all out, not only the 2 designated motorized, but we could have additional crossovers where we feel that we have good representation on all types of recreation types and activity types. But it is a bit of a scalpel process, you know, to make sure that we have that representation, and we'll rely on this advisory council just as we will with the boating advisory council, just as we will with the Office of Outdoor Rec Advisory Council, to identify the best people to have that good representation on that. So I hope that helps you understand that a little bit.
And so that council will end up reviewing all the non-motorized RTP grants, all the motorized RTP grants, and all of the UORG grants.
Yes.
So you're probably talking 200 grants?
Yeah, so I mean, some people may think that's a really esteemed position, but really it's a heavy volunteer position for somebody that gets that.
I'm just adding it up so that, you know, when that, just trying to think of what that looks like. But yeah, thank you for that information, and we'll look forward to hearing more for sure.
Also, Cheryl, I just want to add that I've been working with the Office of Outdoor Recreation to get grant software in place. And what they do is they distribute the grants. So a specific number of grants go to certain people. And so if someone has an expertise in an area, obviously that you can give them that grant. So those members on the advisory council will probably be reviewing still about, I don't know, maybe 30 plus, but it won't be reviewing.
So they won't be reviewing every single one of those 200 grants.
And that is also part of my update as well, is that when we get our grant software up and running, which will be very shortly, that is what we are going to begin doing with this advisory council, is that instead of having to review every single application, we'll disperse it maybe based on the number of applications and people's areas of expertise, and then it will come together and discuss them.
All right, thanks.
Great, thank you, Pat. Appreciate your time to be here with us today.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
All right, well, let's move on to the meat of our meeting.
Yes.
We are running a little bit behind schedule, not as far behind schedule as our agenda looks, because we bumped that program and legislative update forward, which we had allotted 25 minutes to. So it's always been a challenge to give these grants the time that they need, but not be here till midnight. And we've dabbled in various ways of doing that, mostly unsuccessfully, I think. It's hard to balance those two things. I know I want to make sure that we spend the time that we need to and not gloss over stuff that people have comments on and need to give input on, but yet not be here forever. So we've got 34 applications that are active, correct?
Yes.
Is that right?
We have 34 applications. 2 have pulled out since the closing date. The total request as it stands currently is for $1.1 million. Also, just to keep in mind is that the number that was for available funds is inaccurate. I don't even know the exact number of available funds, but it's more than that. It's just
That number's out of date, it sounds like. It's old. Still,
We,
or inaccurate.
there was a misunderstanding where we thought the funding, it would go back, if we didn't use it, it would go back into our restricted account. Turns out it's just been rolling. So to give you an idea.
Okay.
So,
I do have a question,
Yeah.
if I may. So what about the percentages then? So we keep in line with our big grant
so
mission.
going back to House Bill 305, that will be merging two divisions, well, Office of Outdoor Recreation and our division. We've also added in language in there. It's on line number pretty much like 1300 to give you an idea. But what it'll be doing is it'll be altering the language for the fiscal incentive grant, because as it stands right now, the statute is incorrect the way it's written. Pretty much grants can only go for trail work. We're editing that and altering it so that it can be for all those different categories. And then once that takes place, we would have to go back and get the rules altered as well. I've only seen the draft with the rules, but we will be removing those percentages. And also we will be adding a more extensive definition for access protection, because we know that we've had issues with it. Also, now that PLPCO is part of the Department of what?
PLPCO?
Public Land Lawyers, yes. Sorry, I'm so used to just saying PLPCO. Pretty much it's for preserving access to public lands. They are lawyers. They make sure that access is kept open. They are now under the roof of the Department of Natural Resources. So we have altered it so that we are not going after, and I need to look at it and I will send the draft out to people because I haven't really had a chance to deep dive into it. But it's my understanding that we don't want to be duplicating what other people under the Department of Natural Resource is doing. So we're altering that definition for access protection. In a roundabout way, we are eliminating the percentages for each category. They were there as more as placeholders, but it was also becoming an issue with limiting us on using the funding available that we have. So, go ahead.
How do we make sure that the monies are going towards trail work?
Well, that's what you guys are for. And also, it's something that we can include in our scoring criteria, where if it's a trail work project, it'll be scored higher. Something like that.
So will you just be giving us like running updates as far as, hey, you guys have spent this much money on search and rescue equipment versus this much money on trail work, so that we can at least kind of see how we're spreading, because they're all very valuable, right? But for me, as we go cycle to cycle, I'm not sitting and calculating how does that add up based off of what we did last time or the time before. And so then when I'm done, it's confusing. So I think as long as we continue to I would want to see it continue to be broken out this way, so that as a council, we can see, like, are we going really heavy one way and not another? Because again, they all matter. They all have an important role.
They do. And something to keep in mind is that what I really appreciate about the Office of Outdoor Recreation is that when they see a need for something, they will create solutions for it. So there may be other grant funding opportunities later on down the year that will help work towards these specific categories where we're having an influx of, let's say, search and rescue. We're having just an influx of requests.
Yeah.
Well, there's a need for it, and maybe this grant specifically can help alleviate some of it, but not all of it. So what can we do to fix it? So I will 100% still be tracking these categories. And it'll be something that will hopefully be also able to see potentially even from your side of things on our new grants system that we'll have. So, any? Go ahead, Brett.
So on the trail protection, there's been some questions, some grants that were approved and then taken back.
Yes.
It's mostly working through PLPCO with that. We'll be able to defend our trails. If somebody tries to take it away from us, we can defend it, but we can't go pick a fight, for example. You know what I mean? And there's been a couple of nonprofits or whatever that have gone out and they're getting involved in some things that they'd rather have political take the lead on and then hand it off to, you know, an independent agency if needed, but they're going to kind of be in the driver's seat. But with the funding, we will be able to defend our access, purchase access, and that's kind of something that we have.
So will it be an area that we actually put money into and say this is a reserve money that is for legal type?
It's in the, it all funnels down into the restricted account, so as we go and we get to the end of the year, I would hope that you would make sure that you make priority issues be more priority than others.
So would that be done in the council, or would somebody have to actually apply for a grant?
Probably Fiscal might reach in there and say, hey, we want to do a grant, we've got an issue down in Santa Barbara. And so they can easily reach into it and get some funding on a local basis.
Yes.
I'm assuming that's sort of how it's supposed to go.
And unfortunately, it wasn't really explained to me before Chris left, but it's something that we'll be working on. We don't have all the answers currently, but I can guarantee you that we will get it all worked out and have a process in place for it, whether it be Flipgo coming to us for the funding or nonprofits. Also, it's something where we want to begin promoting it more because we do have that funding in there. And right now I believe it's 20% of it, of that 3.675 million that hasn't been utilized at all over these 3 quarters. So trying to really work on it, but in order for us to do that, we definitely need to get that definition in place because before it was becoming an issue through our division and as well as above us. So yeah, it's something that we'll be working on. Not officially.
Thank you, Rachel.
That does concern me. It's like, maybe good, maybe bad, but it's something we need to look at and keep track of.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, the advisory council, the OHV Advisory Council will not be eliminated, like it won't be dissolved. It'll still be here. It'll still be acting as an advising board for the OHV program. So we will keep everyone in the loop on this.
All right, we got a lot of grants to go through. I know that there are some that there's questions on. Hopefully, we've all taken the time to read them. Rachel has taken the time to give a summary and to give the recommendation of the program, what should be granted.
Ron?
And yeah.
Before you get started, could I make a 2-minute comment? Just a very short comment. I know we've changed this format to speed up the process, but my observations, it has cost me much more time because I have spent a huge amount of time going through every one of these applications, where before I would rely on the expertise of people here in this council that would discuss it. And there would be things that they would know that I would never be able to find that out. And I would rely on that information coming from them. And I could make a much more productive decision on what I should do in that. And the same with me. There were things that I knew that nobody else would know. And so it has taken me, I like the idea, but it's taken me a lot more time. Okay. I have put in 3 times as much time because I went and I looked at each one of these grants, and if I had questions, I called. If I had questions about the cost of stuff, I went back and I looked. I said, well, why was this costing so much? And it's actually cost me more time saying, hey, we're only going to have an hour meeting, as opposed to saying, well, let's have a 3-hour meeting and we'll discuss all these. And Ron, you have information that I don't know. And we share that information and we can make a much better decision, as opposed to me trying to dig through all the 36 of these grants And I'm going, I don't have time. And I have spent, I bet 3 times as much time on this grant cycle than any of the other cycles because I had to become proficient or understand each one of the grants. And I called several people, but I think to justify these grants, to making meaningful, we need to discuss all of them. And this meeting can't be an hour-long meeting to go through this grant process. It's almost like we need to maybe start at 1 o'clock or maybe have an afternoon deal where we go for 2 hours, we take a break, we go for 2 more hours because there are grants in here that we probably ought to talk for 20 minutes about. I mean, it's directions we're going. I believe if we're actually an OHV Advisory Council, we need to look at things that are coming down the pipeline at us and say, hey, we need to prepare for these things. If we're not ready for these things, we're going to have a big problem. So I believe that the 1-hour format is not going to work. Like I said, it's cost me, I'd say at least twice as much time, maybe 3 times as much time spending on the look at every single one of these grants. About divvying these out, and I like that idea. It'd be interesting to see how we can put this together. I just have some concerns. I want to be productive. I think all of us want to be productive and make the joint to work. And I'm not trying to criticize in any way. This is an observation I made on this grant cycle, that I've spent a lot more time looking at these grants than any other grants. I don't know if the rest of you feel that way or not, and maybe we should take a moment and talk about that.
No, that's the kind of feedback I've been getting. I think that you've been probably getting as well on that. The timing is, I mean, that's a challenge, right? How do we, I mean, if we go through these in an hour, that's 2 minutes per, and that's probably not enough time for a lot of them. Some of them may be. Are other people, what are other thoughts?
I've got some friends in Colorado and they do something similar with their RTP. And it's at least 2 days, 8-hour days that they go over their RTPs. And I don't know if a lot of the works that Rachel does to get it in front of us and get it ready for us, I don't know if they do all that there. But from what I understand is there really is a lot more time to look at it and to really break it down and get the information that's needed. I feel the same. I feel like that we gloss over this stuff and we're not exactly sure what the direction, what is the program, what is the program's direction? And, I mean, we want to support the program for sure, but at the same time, I feel personally responsible for the monies that are in these funds, and we had a mission statement. This is what we're supposed to do. And there's percentages and we want to make sure that, the overall part of the FIG grant, is trail work. We want to be able to react right now and get some trails going and maintain those trails. And it feels like, these cycles, they just keep, maybe Rachel ought to be listening to this, but I just feel like we're straying from that, and hopefully in the future that takes care of it. Maybe we are able to focus more on FIG type stuff instead of tourism. I mean, it feels like that's what this is, and yeah, I struggle with it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other input?
Yeah, I'd be really curious, the quarterly
Aspect of it.
Yeah, because I mean, I think before when you were doing this, it just didn't feel like but now when we're getting 40 applications quarterly, that's it. I mean, especially for our volunteer, that ends up being a lot to be doing that you're doing it all year. It feels like we finished one cycle and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, are they sending out an invite again for another? Did I miss something? Because that time span it feels really short, I guess is what I'm trying to say, the quarterly. And I mean, obviously that helps us be more timely, but
It definitely is a lot, believe me.
Yeah,
And
I know.
it's
So I'd be
something-
curious on your end if that.
I mean, it definitely is a lot, and what's great about it is, I mean, the good thing about it is that when you have funding and you need it immediately, like it has a quick turnaround, you know?
Yeah.
But it is a lot, especially because you guys are all volunteers, you know, you don't get paid to be here, you don't get paid to travel here. We give you pizza, that's coming. But that's about it. So it's definitely something that I would love to hear feedback on.
Like
if
even
I
twice a year is
spend-
way more timely than most grant processes, and especially when you guys get the grant money out a lot quicker. I mean,
Yeah.
RTP, you get out and you don't even get to spend it till the next year. Your cycle is like so much faster. So I guess I'm just curious. To me, that it's the frequency. If I was only doing this a couple of times a year, I don't feel like it feel like quite as much. It's
Yeah.
just,
I'm gonna, how
Chairman,
about,
Chairman, if I could interrupt, I believe we have Fred on the line.
Yes.
Fred, if you are muted, you can hit *6 on your phone to unmute. Sorry to interrupt, Chairman, but please welcome Fred.
Okay. Fred, can you hear me? Fred, are you there? Sounds like Fred is there, but maybe not unmuted, but we'd like to welcome Fred Christensen from the off-highway, or our off-highway vehicle safety representative to the meeting as well.
yeah, I think it's just something to consider for sure.
Yeah.
And I agree what folks are saying, because you do want to, it also makes it harder. Like, I think if it was 1 or 2 cycles, it'd be easier to compare all the types of projects that are coming in once. I don't know. It feels like.
The follow-up, you're exactly right. It would be a full-time job for us if we went in, and I asked Rachel the other day, I says, are you sure you can do this? This is so much work to have a grant, and then next quarter you come back and go, wait a second, where are they at with the other? Have they finished it? Was it productive? Did I see it, or did they not finish it?
Right.
And they're asking for some more, or is this the same people?
Well, and that's the hard time I have too. I'm like, wait, was this one of the people, like I have to go back, like, was this one of the people that already asked for a similar type of equipment the last time we were on here? It just makes, it's just, I don't know. Rachel has her hands full, that's all I can say.
I definitely do. I mean,
inside.
yeah, but so, and that's why I would love to send out, honestly, a survey. Let's figure this out. Let's see what will work. And what doesn't work, you know. Also, I think and it's supposed to begin February 15th of this year, so pretty much a week from now that is when we'll have our online grants. So it'll be
Application.
Yep, application online, reviewing it will be online. Obviously, we come here and discuss it, and then also just managing it all online. So it'll alleviate a lot of things. And we'll be able to kind of see a lot more tangible numbers and data. And like, if that's something that we can share and kind of figure it out, because I completely agree. It does kind of come down, are we refunding the same grant and stuff? And yeah, so that is what we're working on. But I would love to send out a survey with you guys and kind of just like pick your brains on what's working, what's not working. Obviously, this is a lot of man hours. It would be better if we had a longer meeting and tried to do it during, I don't know. The thing is that everyone here has a job, or most. Okay, and the little one behind you doesn't have a job. Yeah, maybe.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
Give them a
Cool, that's a whole job.
Or even maybe there's a different day we can have that discussion.
Yeah.
Or something, but I think it would be valuable to have.
Absolutely.
Because I know I'm scratching my.
One other thing, is our goal to be an advisory council or just a grant review board? I mean, I kind of almost feel like maybe this is kind of going that direction.
Definitely.
I mean, and if that's all we did is review a grant and push a button, then you could do this from your home. Maybe you could even just do it by yourself.
And that's something that we've discussed is, should we have a smaller, like, should this advisory council be more so like for advising the OHV program when it comes to specific topics regarding OHV usage across the state? Or should we have a smaller advisory council that helps, that would still rely on you guys, but like with specific questions or something, or like, but like have them go through and review it themselves? There's a lot of things that are up in the air, and that we don't know. So I would love to hear from everyone. Maybe not right now, but.
I'm sorry I'm dragging this out, but
No,
I
it's
believe
it's
this is
important to have the
important
discussion.
questions. We gotta figure this out.
Well, maybe that
And
just
I-
calls for a different meeting to specifically, and maybe right now, since so many things are in the works and changing, we don't have some of the answers that we would need to have to understand. And so maybe we need to give the state a minute to work through some of the stuff they're doing. And then I would love it though, if you would bring us together to figure out like, and to brainstorm options.
Sure. This is another thought. We have some experts here. You can't go by the information and knowledge that is contained on this committee. I believe that there's a reason why we're called an advisory council. I believe that we could come up with some really good ideas of how to do this program.
Yeah.
And not that it's not a criticism, I think just to improve it.
Yeah.
And with the changes going on, I believe that
Yeah, to be a part of that conversation.
to be part of it, exactly.
Yeah, I wanted to take a minute and make sure we kind of had, we don't have time to go super deep into this right now, but Scott, I'm glad you brought that up. It's been on, I think, all of our mind. To me, okay, it's a lot of time, but the amount of time I've invested in looking at the grants, and even tonight, okay, this is an hour meeting, but how many of us invested an hour or 2 or 3 to get here and another hour or 2 or 3 to get home? And then to spend 45 minutes stamp feels a little bit wasteful.
I think that,
So we do need to work through all that.
I think to your point, Scott, where some of us don't have certain knowledge, right? Like when we're talking about Paiute County or we're talking about other OHV access, sitting down with a group of experts that have firsthand knowledge in those areas is going to provide significant more impact in decision-making processes than anything else. The other thing that, and Rachel, to your credit, the information about where our money is being spent is right in front of us. And I can't tell you what the trend looks like, but more and more applications I see every time we're sitting down is for tourism.
Mhm.
That's not the essence or the purpose of what the FIG grants are for, from what I understand. We're 350 some odd % over budget in that marketplace. We're supposed to be building and protecting trails. We're not supposed to be promoting trails. And so in that sense, are we following the essence and the mission statement of what this committee is supposed to be for? We've got $1 million to spend on trail improvements and another $600,000 to spend on trail protection. There hasn't been one FIG grant for access protection put through. That's frightening to me. Because I can tell you, based in the state of California, they lost millions of acres of access for the snowmobile communities this year. And if we're not paying attention, it's going to happen here, and it will happen quickly.
And I have concerns, I bring this up every time about the tourism ones, is it's like, well, that's great if we're advertising all these trails, but I still don't know if the places that manage them are supportive of those being advertised. We're still not making those connections where we know for sure that that trail has the infrastructure it needs to deal with an influx of people, that the trail's in good enough shape for the influx of people. It doesn't match up, right? Like I would love to see him be like, we're going to put this much money into a restroom and trail work, and then we're going to market this trail, right? So again, there's just this disconnect where I'm like, are we just advertising all these trails and sending people to who knows where? And everyone's like, wait, where'd all these people come from? And they're not ready for it. So I just feel like there are some of those disconnects where, again, it's important to move people to those communities, but are the trails ready? Are the land managers ready?
Not even aware that they have an opportunity to get ready.
Right. Like, are we even having these kinds of discussions? So I can
tell you from the snowmobile community, we have a volunteer groomer in Logan who manages a trail with his own funds.
Yeah.
He pays for the snowcat, pays for the fuel, he pays for the vandalism repairs to the garage, and he pays for all the repairs to the snowcat out of his own pocket. That's the kind of things we should be funding, because he's providing money for those people. And he's providing access.
And he's proven there's a need.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's already a need. I'm gonna give Brett just a minute to comment. Those of you that don't know, Brett has been pretty instrumental in most of the legislation and most of the rules that have brought the FIG about. He just had a comment he wanted to make.
So as much time as you spend on these at home and researching it, I know that I get calls occasionally, questions here and there. What are the chances of getting you to vote on it after you're done with that, and then a small discussion on some of the ones that are questionable in your quarterly meetings? I mean, I don't know if that's.
It's a great question, but the problem is somebody like me who's in the snowmobile world may not have the insight the off-highway, somebody the full-size vehicle group has. I don't full-size vehicle recreate.
Maybe we could vote and then discuss what.
I'd rather dedicate a Saturday, a quarter, to sit down with these guys and hammer through and invite the public to sit down and talk to me and educate me on some of their main issues so that we better understand it.
And one other thing, I would hope that you guys would watch the tourism thing.
Sure.
Because if they start doing a repeats of the same town, that town hasn't changed in 100 years, 50 years or whatever. If you start seeing repeats, somebody's taking advantage of what's here.
Ron, do you want to take a minute and do we want to talk about?
I'll shut up about that.
No, I was just gonna say Jason did raise his hand. So Jason?
Sure. One of the things I've been working really closely with a lot of the local entities here, trying to come up with trail projects that are actual trail projects, building trail, maintaining trail. And one of the things that we run into is we've been running into just roadblock after roadblock from land management agencies to get some of these projects underway. It takes time, and we're working on it. We had set ready to go with 45 miles of trail to be designated out here, and the land manager gave us a no on that right before we submitted the grant. So it's not that there's not the projects out there, it's that I think that some of these tourism ones are a lot easier to get through and get going, because we're not dealing with all the roadblocks with NEPA and with agreements, MOUs between land managers and entities and things like that. There's just a lot of challenges there to get actual trail projects done that that I just think take time.
Thank you. I agree with that. Yeah.
Well, and I agree kind of what was being said. I like the idea of distributing the grants to different people, but I feel like everyone picks up on different things when they read an application. And so, if I was, for instance, the only person that looked at the Forest Service applications, and then I came to you guys and I was like, I think these are all great, then, what if you guys are like, we actually hate those trails, or, I just, you're missing, again, that collaborative effort. And I feel like there's so much value in hearing all of those voices for every project.
100%.
And I just want to apologize. I feel like I've been like, let's streamline it. Let's streamline it. Let's streamline it.
No, it's
But I
you're
need
trying to respect people's time. Yeah.
listen. So, and I hear you guys. So let's work on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Whether it be altering our grant at some point to make it biannual and having it where we dedicate a full day to going through it, where lunch and dinner is provided by us. That's it. But no, so and I like the discussion, and I'm plan to follow up after this, whether in setting up a meeting after this where we can go through and kind of discuss it even more so. Maybe send out a survey to begin with, allow everyone obviously to see the results, and let's hash it out, let's figure it out and find a solution to it. Yeah.
Figuring out what are some of those barriers. I mean, I look at us and there's no way the Forest Service has staffing to submit grants 4 times a year. You know what I mean? So it's, you just you don't see a lot of those folks that probably are the land management agencies to be able to put that together 4 times a year. So then I think we do see like a couple of times a year, we'll see those bigger trail projects, right? And then the other cycles fill in with all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think even just brainstorming with some of the folks that are applying, like what's working and
Yeah.
you know, how can we support more of these types of projects on the ground?
No,
I'd be curious to get that feedback as well.
yeah, and I completely agree. And I know I feel like I'm just like a broken record, but
We'll talk.
with the grant software, we will have the capability of sending out surveys and asking people like what's working, what's not
That's
working.
exciting.
Especially with the fiscal incentive grant. Recreational trails program grant is, I'm working my way through it. It's far stricter. So there's things that we are required to do. But with this, I mean, it's a state grant. And
Yeah.
as long as it somewhat makes sense in the legislative session, we have the ability to create different rules for it. So yeah.
More discussion to be had.
Okay, good. So this is a public meeting and we do have an agenda we have to stick to. Hopefully we haven't deviated too far because we're still on review of fiscal incentive grants. We're not going to get
Rachel has
any
something.
higher ups in trouble, but
Can I deviate 1 second
Yeah.
and say, can we eat and work?
that's what I was gonna,
Okay.
that's what I was gonna suggest.
Let's
So
do
we
it.
have pizza getting cold
Yeah.
over there.
getting
Let's
hangry.
take
Uh,
maybe
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Is that enough to?
What about
Yeah. And then I was gonna suggest if they just want to tell us about their.
Right, well,
grant,
we'll
they don't
get to
have-
your-
He's
we'll start with
probably
your
like, this
grant.
is all
This-
really
this-
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like,
I don't mind listening.
Yeah, let's,
Can I talk
Alright.
about my grant? and go
so
home?
let's take 5 minutes and go into a break. And then we'll come back and we'll get at it, maybe take just a minute to discuss how we're gonna get at it this time, which is different than we wish to get at it, but,
yeah.
but I think we can come up with a solution for tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paul, we're taking a 5-minute break. There. Usually he like stops it. But, oh yeah, he has like. Okay.
Does it ever leak?
Okay, sorry.
1.
Thank you and welcome back from our break. We're going to go ahead now and get into the review of the fiscal incentive grants. For this evening, we've got 34 grants that we're going to be considering. That's a lot of grants, and again, we don't want to spend the entire evening here, but we do want to give it justice. So let's maybe start getting into them, and maybe we could, as council members, save our discussion and comments for the items that we have maybe more concerns about, and just be aware of that. I don't want to be tying our hands unnecessarily, but we do have to be fairly efficient. Now, we do have one applicant here with us tonight, and he happens to be Carbon County, which happens to be the last one on our list. So rather than going in order, I'd like to maybe start with this one at the end, number 36. Rachel, do you want to tell us a little bit about that? And then we'll give the applicant a moment to give us some input as well.
So this is with the Carbon Emery motocross that takes place, well, it's located in Carbon County. The total project cost is $160,000. They are requesting $112,000. It is a trail work project. It's my understanding also that Scott Wheeler reached out to me regarding this application to discuss it a little bit further. It seems that their motocross track is currently in disrepair. They're also struggling with a way to work on the maintenance with it, but the individual here can discuss it further and explain it further.
May I take a moment before Nick gets up?
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in Carbon County. I rode motorcycles. I raced motorcycles. The Carbon County motocross track has been there for about 45 years. Okay. I rode on it in the 70s and stuff. Carbon County has paid for and kept that track maintained for 40 to 45 years. They use mineral lease money to pay for the maintenance of that track. I would dare say that the county probably has $500,000, probably way more than that, invested over that many years in that track. And the mineral lease money has run out. It's the coal money. And they used to get $10 million a year. And so they could dump a lot of money into different recreational things. That money has kind of pretty much went away. And so some of the recreational areas have had a loss in that. And the motocross track was keen on that. And I've told them for a couple of years, why don't you apply for some money? And so I'll turn the time over to Nick.
Perfect. So you make sure to introduce yourself for the record. Yep. And
I'm Nick Parker. I also live in Carbon County. Have a kid myself. We all ride motorcycles, side by sides, all that fun stuff. Utilize the trail systems. Like Scott said, the money went away for the track. We utilized the track even when it's not in the best of shape. And it's gotten to the point now where it's dangerous to be utilizing. It's still open to the public. Since August of this year, sorry, I can leave that further introduce.
No, you're good.
Okay, you're good. August of 2021, I started communicating with Tony Martinez, the county commissioner. He's the one who oversees the fairgrounds out there. And what can we do to help this thing out? He did emails back and forth where he basically was like, funding is not there. We've had several people come to us and say, this is what we would like to see, but not anybody that's willing to dedicate the time or the effort wholeheartedly and put something together to make it work. And looking for different funding options, that's when I got pointed to Scott and Wade and all the other guys that are involved in the OHV world and learned about this grant. In late November, I had 5 emails come in or text messages one day from families around the state that came to ride the track there and said, we can't even ride, like they're anywhere close to the track. So I forwarded those on to commission, got an email back saying, hey, can you meet with us tomorrow? So that was December 4th. Asked if I could meet with them the 5th. We quickly met. We had 26 people show up just with a simple Facebook. Hey, we're meeting on the track issues tomorrow. From there, Commissioner Martinez had expressed, we want to see it happen, we just don't have the funds. And the problem we also have is not having somebody that's willing to put a committee together or a group to help us make it happen. The county just doesn't have the manpower, the funds for manpower to dedicate to the track. So we took that opportunity, put together a little club. Our second meeting on December 17th, we had 30 people in attendance. We met again on January 6th, had more people in attendance. And that's when it was decided that somebody should write this grant. So that's when I started putting it together. So I apologize that it's not the best it could have been. Wasn't aware of what the full expectations were. So I figured if nothing else, we would put it together and know for the next one if it didn't work out. So just to kind of better explain, there's obviously some parking lot issues. The track needs a lot of work to be safe to ride on. We've had issues in the past where on the backside, the fencing is fallen down, it's whole, and we've had teenage kids try to take their cars onto the track. So those are the issues we're faced with. We've tried to come up with a plan to fence it in, a plan to have weekly maintenance and bring it back to something that we can utilize in the community and people all over the state can come and enjoy it. Scott said it is a free to the public, open track year round. So, and doing all this, with the club that we formed, we have a committee to work hand in hand with the county to help oversee and have manpower to make sure that any funds that we do receive, we would have the manpower to make sure that the project is completed and move forward. And then I'm just going to throw this out there because I thought it was pretty impressive. We created a Facebook page to try and get feedback on December 18th. And since December 18th up until today, we have 1,395 people following the page. So there's definitely an interest in people riding the trails and the track in Parker County. So that's my main reason for coming, was give you that, and then if you guys have questions for me on the project.
Do any of the council members have questions?
I had comments. I have some comments. I had told them many times, I says, the commissioners, I says, you need to try to get some of this money. We could use this money at work. I didn't know the grant was written until Rachel sent it to me. And I was really excited. I read down through it, and that's when I got back with Nick. I says, Nick, you need to tweak this a little teensy bit. You know, the cash value you have here, and I tried to explain a little bit more to him. And I said, see if Rachel lets you refile that and send that back. And I looked at a couple other items in here. And if I would have seen the grant, they would have brought it to me. I would have says, Nick, ask for more money for the sprinkler system. Don't do it in phases. Finish it off. Get it done, and try to get some more money to do that. Also, I would have said the parking lot needs some gravel in it. And I says, I would have asked for more money. I realize it's kind of late to be doing that, but those would be areas that I think are somewhat critical, especially finishing the sprinkling system. If they're going to have people out there digging trenches and putting pipe in, let's finish it. Let's get it all done now, as opposed to doing a phase now and then in a year do another phase. And then we had a race in the fall of last year, and it snowed and rained, and it's on that Mankell Shell. And I tell you what a muddy mess. And I said, I would have put down, maybe $30,000 for gravel or $40,000 for gravel in there. So I don't know if we can tweak on this at all, but I really would like to, okay,
Oh, no. I was just gonna say, so there was another motocross and it was just for the sprinkler system. Give you an idea, from Uinta County, and they requested $150,000. And their total project cost was $234,000.
Urban County, they don't know how much that is.
I know. So we've done it in the past. I mean, their application includes a wide variety of things.
We approved that one. We did approve
Yeah.
it. Okay, that's what I thought.
That was a good one.
That's, I was like, I swear, we did another motocross track, but
Over.
Is that?
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to see it. So, I mean, obviously it's up to the advisory council. Obviously, we are recommendation based, but it's, if we want to potentially throw extra money at this, we can. We have that funding.
May I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Is that the applicant get a quote for installing a sprinkler system in there and revising it to match maybe a low bid, if you can get a couple bids.
And that was Jason, by the way. But for this and now tonight, would the advisory council feel comfortable giving additional funding and then having them come back with bids?
Yes.
And obviously, just so that it's not being progressed, it's kind of, it has that quick turnaround on it.
How much
could
was
I
this?
add something else in here? It's critical that they get the funding this quarter, because if they don't, you'll lose a whole year, because the racing, to get this
Yeah.
track done, you got to do it right now,
yeah.
for this season. And so it's really critical to get this. And, you know, if you didn't put any extra into it, you could get some stuff done. But it would really be nice if they have equipment out there digging, get it done all complete now.
It's a trail work category.
What did we talk about as far as money?
As far as money, currently right now, they're only requesting 112.
Or 12,500.
Thank you. But I don't know how much this costs.
And can you pull up the Paiute one where how much the sprinkler system request was?
Yeah. Okay, sorry. That is what you're asking.
149.
Yeah.
For the sprinkler system alone?
Was the grant, the whole project was
So-
200 something.
Yeah, their whole project was, you can't even see it, but it was 234,000. And they requested $149,000. There we go. Got it. So just to give you an idea, I believe it was virtually, for the most part of it, just a sprinkler system, as well as like having a watering truck. If I'm remembering it correctly. So I mean, Scott, and then obviously, Nick would have a better understanding of what amount they need, or anyone
How many
else.
phases have you planned on your water system?
Yeah,
We're planning to, so the issue we have right now is there is a current system, from my understanding, there's like 96 zones in the system.
Mhm.
So we want to eliminate some of those zones, make a more cannon type system. And to be quite honest, I don't even know how the old systems ran.
They have rainbirds, not rainbirds out there, but pop-up plastic head ones right now, yeah. And when they look at it, when I looked at it, I figured out they would need 27 cannons, water cannons. They applied for 17, and I'm going, I don't think you can do it with 17 cannons. I think you need more than that. And that's why I kind of told them, I said, before you sit the grant, let me look at it a little teensy bit, and maybe I can help you tweak it and stuff. But I was excited. They were under the gun to get it in,
So we're just looking now at what kind of a number it would be to get these guys up and running, so we can be more efficient with the state funds.
My thought would be if on part 3 in there where it says $17,200, if he was to put another $20,000 into the sprinkling system and maybe add
I wouldn't worry about well,
After you updated bids, an
Yeah.
updated budget.
So I honestly, a couple of things. One, your labor hour cost hours are probably not in line with what the state is, but I don't think that's an issue because the volunteer hours, if you have 30 club members, you're gonna have more than enough volunteer hours. You have to track it. That's a pain in the rear, but do it. You'll have more than enough in kind.
Yeah.
My inkling is give them an additional $50,000 to get that thing moving, because if there's that many users in a short period of time and it's dangerous for kids to use, that's where kids learn how to be good riders. That's what the essence of trail development is we're maintaining and preserving a 45-year asset.
There's also a Pee Wee track there too that we want to work on. And like I said, we're trying to balance this out and say, hey,
So, yeah, for sure.
it's been free. It's been free. You could go ride it for free. And what's the difference between spending a day out there riding around in a circle as opposed to riding out on a trail someplace?
Okay, so can we make any motions or?
I'll make a motion to increase the funding from $112,500 to $162,500.
I'll second that motion. Eric,
how much?
another $50,000.
So 160.
$162,500, so increase it by $50,000.
Okay.
All right, let's vote on that. Probably ought to do a roll call vote.
Second of the motion.
We had a second.
We had a second. So,
and then we'll vote to approve it separately. But the motion is to revise the amount.
Once the motion's made, we will need to work out the match for it, but Nick and I can figure that out ourselves after this.
So the motion to increase the amount, the increased amount is pending revisions to the application to justify the amount. It would just be automatic.
And as a reminder, the scoring is just yes, no. Cheryl?
Yes.
Brody?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Tyson?
Yes.
Fred?
You might have to remind him how to unmute.
Star 6.
Star 6. Okay, I'll come back to you, Fred. Eric?
yes.
Ron?
Yes.
And then Fred, if you are there.
Is there a way to remotely unmute him?
Yes.
Negative. The system only allows the individual to unmute themselves, and star 6 is the correct command on the telephone keypad.
All right. If he doesn't unmute, we'll probably just have to consider that he's listening. So.
Okay.
Yeah. We can come back to him if he comes online. So that was to the specific motion to increase the funding. I think we have to vote separately to approve or to recommend the grant, because that wasn't included in the motion recommendation grant, right?
Are all the scores the same?
Yeah,
let's do it right.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
It won't take a
All right. Cheryl?
Yes.
Brody?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Tyson?
Yes.
Fred, if you can hear us. Otherwise, Eric?
Yes.
Kirk?
Yes.
And Ron?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I felt like we needed to.
No.
That wasn't in it wasn't in language of the motion.
You're the chair, man.
Yes. I'm just trying to get back. Nick? Nick?
Do your work.
Yeah.
Make it run with it, because that's going to be a great asset down there.
Yeah. So,
out bids and get them
bids
to you.
and then account for as your in-kind match
Rachel, will you get
for hours of labor.
Okay, will you give him the volunteer labor hour?
Yep, so
This is very specific numbers.
it should be 2854. It should be on the budget sheet that we have in our application itself, but it's 2854. And I will send you an email very quickly. You said it is Nick. Nick, what is your last name?
Parker,
Arthur or Parker?
Parker, PAR.
There you are. You don't work for the state.
I do.
Is that you at utah.gov?
Indeed, Parker.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Okay. I will send it to you, okay?
perfect.
So I'll just send you our equipment cost list, that's, which you can go off of to create your match, okay?
Awesome. Thank you
Awesome.
guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming down.
There you go.
Be safe getting home. There's tons of deer in the canyon.
Oh,
See them on the way up.
yeah, I see a lot of dead ones to the side.
There's a ton.
Lots of dead ones. So
You enjoy it.
Wow.
Crazy.
All right, let's move on, get cranking through these. Just take them in order,
Going backwards or we're going?
Did you take some pizza?
or let's start at the
We don't
top.
have a Panda in price. Panda.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry.
Or whatever's most efficient for you, Rachel, on the order.
Okay, do we want to start with the ones that we all feel comfortable with, that they think it's a thorough grant, doesn't really require a lot of?
Just go through them in order. and we'll-
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't want to skip
We spend
around.
more time
That's
deciding
true.
what we agreed on.
And I don't think we need
Or-
the introduction, right? Like we just
No.
have the project title and then if anyone has any concerns and then we vote.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, if we need more description,
Yeah.
we'll ask questions.
Okay.
So we're just gonna start with one then. or whatever.
Yeah.
Start with one.
Starting at 1, so this is for the San Rafael Swell OHV campground improvements and OHV route delineation. BLM Price Field Office, they are requesting $26,000, 26,250. I'm sorry, and they have a 42% match for a total project cost of $45,000.
Are there any questions or comments on this grant?
Only comment I could make is the support, one of the support letters was from a non-motorized user, but I see the benefit of what they need. They just need to delineate parking areas and some other stuff where people are parking off on it. And so I've seen them use it before and, I put yes on them.
Okay.
Does anybody have any problems with this grant or questions?
No.
All right, let's rank it.
Okay,
Did anyone online have any?
does anyone online have any questions or comments on this application? It's number 1.
No.
Okay.
No.
Brody, you are first.
Yes.
Okay, Jason,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Fred. If you want to send me your scores or text them to me, let me know if you're having issues. Eric,
yes.
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Cheryl.
Yes.
Okay. So number 2 is for digital trail mapping / OHV purchase. It's from Juab County Tourism. They are requesting $50,000, $50,625. And their total project cost is $67,500. It is a trail work / tourism project.
All right, any questions or commentary on this application?
I just have to say on this one, I appreciated that they actually had a really great variety of letters of support from all of the different land management agencies that they wanted to do the mapping and the work on. So I just thought that was really good to see.
Yeah.
Can I also add something? This is the first time that GWAB has actually applied for the grant.
I thought that was great that you can tell that they've been outreaching. They've got support of a lot of different folks to do this project. So,
and I presented to them in Delta, and I was so excited to hear when she was applying.
Yeah.
So an early application, very thorough. Also worked with Michelle from Beaver County to kind of get some ideas, who has a better hold on the fiscal incentive grant. So.
Good. Any commentary? Scott?
One real quick. We have a lot of directions, people coming to us for mapping stuff. It would be nice to almost, it would be a suggestion of mine that maybe perhaps we look at trying to look at a couple different engineering firms that comes and makes a presentation to us and say, let's do the whole state and fund that instead of having patchwork. And maybe this is the group to use, I don't know. But we can't have 10 different types of mapping done through the state and have consistency. I'm not, downing the grant any, but I see that if we have consistency in how they do it, it's
And
all
where
the
that
same.
data is stored too, that I kind of had that
And who
same.
owns it?
Yeah, and who owns the data? And, to me as a user, I'd rather just know you go to one site. It's not, oh, for Juab County, you have to go to their website. And for this one, you go to this site. And for that one, you go to 369.
If I'm from
And
Colorado and want to ride here, how do I even know that?
yeah, right.
So-
Instead of one hub. Yeah, Scott, that's a great point.
I like that idea. So there could be two options, is doing similar to what the High District Trail is doing, going through and asking for the appropriated funding through the legislative session. And Michelle is doing that so that she's not the one trying to really control all those potentially different grants and just like run it herself. So she's trying to alleviate that issue. So there is that option. Obviously, it would be sometime next year. Again, I love it. I think it's something that we should talk about.
Does that pertain to voting on this grant?
So like for now, this grant's solid, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to slow them down.
I'm okay with funding it. It's just, we can talk about a
Yeah.
lot of different.
Agreed,
things.
Scott.
Let's get on the same.
Different venues, different,
Yeah.
is it a city site? Is it a county site? Is it
And
Google 360? Yeah,
Tyson Todd has raised his hand.
it's all over.
Okay.
Just real quick, I don't think it's the responsibility or we should take the obligation to decide which company should do a statewide review of this. Maybe we can recommend a spot to put it so it's uniform, but I don't think we should unilaterally decide one company to do all of the mapping, just as we consider this moving forward.
Thank you. Any other discussion before we vote?
Okay. I'm just gonna share my screen so that the people online can see. Okay. So moving on, Jason.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Tyson.
Yes.
Brad, if you can hear us. Eric.
Yes.
Yes.
Ron.
Yes.
And back to Cheryl.
Yes.
Brody.
Yes.
Okay. So moving on to grant number 3. This is for the signage along Highway 276 in Tickaboo for OHV marketing by Friends of Tickaboo. They're requesting $21,000 for a total project cost of $32,525. This is I believe it's a tourism. Yes, it is a tourism application. It's my understanding that they are also listening in on YouTube right now. So if we do have questions, I've told them to reach out to us.
Okay.
So.
Are there comments or questions on this application?
I have one.
Go ahead, Brody.
Well, have Scott go first.
Okay. Go ahead, Scott.
Okay, this is just the grant applications for the first phase. There's 3 phases, so that would triple the amount that they would need for a mural on the side of a building. Didn't they apply for this here a couple of years ago?
You have 5 outstanding grants that aren't completed.
Okay, it seemed like it was denied before, but half the building's not exposed because there's a dirt embankment on the side of that, but that is my comment when I was looking at it, that they're gonna paint a mural on the side of a building for $133,000. So that's my comment.
Brody?
My question is, now I'm not an artist, so I don't know, but painting on a corrugated side of a building, it just seems like it'd be a very distorted, kind of flying through space kind of picture. I just don't get that. Yeah, I thought you'd want kind of more of a flat surface, but I'm not an artist.
I just don't know what it is.
So Ray is texting me, who is the project sponsor for this. And would it be easier if you had questions that we gave them the link to the Google
Meeting?
Google Meet, sorry, the Google Meet, or because I just tell people to log in onto YouTube and watch it there, and if they have questions and stuff.
Whatever's easiest for you.
Yeah, whatever's fastest and
Yeah,
easiest,
okay.
that we're not violating any state whatever.
Yeah. So he said professional mural artist has done these before.
The work that I seen was really nice, but I just don't see how it's applicable for this application.
Okay.
I'd like to see some of these other grants that they already have out there finished up. That's my comment.
So let me look at them. Ray said, works in St. George, added to application, local business, also willing to help with phases. But real quickly, I do want to look at what is open for them. So Rally in Bullfrog Valley is complete. I will say that because I did attend it. I think they're just waiting for their final paperwork to get in. But as for the mapping and the area trail riding, I'm not 100% sure where they're at with that, but yeah.
Can you tell me how many of these are tourism based or trail? Do we know?
How many of these are tourism based
Outstanding grants.
Right.
currently?
Yeah.
So some of them are multi-category. Ones that include tourism, there is 1, 2, yes, not only higher. 1, 2, 3. 12 of them. And maybe 13 actually. 13 of them, 1 was removed.
So again, does that come back to the essence of what our advisory council is? Are we a tourism or are we a trail protection?
And Ray said $38,000 grant for AYL just completed this weekend. 360, they're waiting on Google Earth for that. And then for Glen Canyon National Recreational mapping, it's in the progress right now.
I'm just not sure how this one even compares though to a lot of the tourism grants that are in here. I'm just, I mean, it sounds like a cool project. I don't personally feel like it fits the funding.
Do you think we're ready to vote on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Sorry. We said North Lake Powell is rather large territory. So Scott,
No.
Tyson,
No.
Fred, if you can hear us? Eric?
No.
No. Ron?
No.
Freddie?
No.
And Jason?
Jason had to leave. He's gonna send you his scores email.
I will be looking for those later. Okay. Moving on to the next one, it is the Regional OHV Collaboration for Beaver County. They're requesting $18,750 for a total project of $25,000. I believe this is also tourism. It is tourism, but it does involve multiple counties. Beaver is just the one championing it.
Any comments or questions on this one?
I appreciate that all three of these counties coordinated together and came forward with one application to try to, attract people to that entire geographic area, because the trails all connect, and
Right.
I appreciated that coordination.
Yeah.
And they got good cash match. They've got skin in the game on the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any other comments, questions before we go? All right, let's go ahead.
I get start. I think it was Tyson. Tyson?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Fred, I'll let you get to me back later. Eric?
Yes.
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Yes. Freddie?
Yes.
Jason? Oh, never mind. Take it back. Scott?
Yes.
So when they get done with their branding, then I'd like to see them come forward with the projects for these trusts.
Michelle asked for the YouTube link, so she is listening.
Right. So yeah, I mean, once they get their branding done and they know what they're looking at and where they want people to go, I would love to see some projects coming forward. So,
Yes.
and I'm sure the
This is
whole
on
council
project.
agrees.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to number 5, North Lake Powell Search and Rescue Vehicle and Safety Gear Purchase from Friends of Tickaboo. They're requesting $28,704. Total project cost of $38,324. It is a search and rescue item. Is there any questions or conversation regarding it?
Just have a comment that are they a search and rescue group, official group already? Sounds like they're not.
It's my understanding from their application that they've done it in the past, and I believe training was involved, that in part of their application that they would be getting training, but Ray is, I think.
Does it sound like they're trying to set up like an additional branch or something to respond to a different geographic area?
So paragraph G1 kind of addresses that a little bit. It says during the previous fiscal year, there was and currently is no dedicated SAR team in the immediate area of Eastern Garfield County. They are responded to by the county sheriff's office and DPS personnel. So,
Go ahead, sorry.
no, I'm just saying this to answer your question there. There's no official SAR county or SAR organization there.
Okay. Do you want to talk? Sorry.
So I've been in contact with them about this. They're starting to assemble a search and rescue through the sheriff department to be able to handle situations because it's starting to get really busy down there in the Beaver area. So it's kind of planting the seed that they want to get prepared because they've already got to use their own vehicles to go and do search and rescue. So I think it's an awesome future. So,
Well, this is for Garfield County itself. So
Garfield, which goes into the Tickaboo, so it's just kind of that area. Garfield's actually got 3 lanes.
that's a huge area, a lot of routes on there.
So with the Friends of, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So would the Friends of Tickaboo own this machine, or would it be a county-owned machine? Or Who ends up with them?
I think it would be Friends to Group that would own it.
Yeah.
But I think they also clarified in there that it would only be used for this.
It says Garfield County. It's our side by side will be actually be the chicken do and the decent one county area. And this is from Hayden and Garfield County.
Oh, yeah, I just got it too. Yeah. So Ray is working with them to become certified.
All right, any other discussion? Let's rate it.
Okay. Eric,
Yes. Effectively so, yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Yes. Ready?
Yes.
Jason is not here currently. Scott
Yes.
and Tyson.
Yes.
And let's see who this is. They have no authority to respond. I don't know who this is. This is Carrie with Ephraim Ambulance.
From ambulance, saying that the people who have applied for this don't have the ability to respond to emergencies.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that was Eric's concern is if they're not set up right now,
What?
got this piece of equipment, are they for sure authorized to be doing the responses?
What if we? Sorry.
The state has, like administratively, administering the grant, you would
There has to be a letter.
need to confirm that they had
Yeah.
the authority to do what they're doing, and if not, even though we've voted to recommend it, you would be able to pull that
Yes.
Would it make more
because it
sense for them
wasn't
to
legal.
go back when it's?
I think it would be something where I could follow up on it. Because they stated that they have to be recognized by an agency to respond.
We usually have to be.
I tried.
Well, but even, I mean, I think though that this is,
Should we table this application?
I think it would probably feel, I mean, it's up to you if you want to do it on the back end or if we want to say, hey, you know what, once you guys are established and you do have the sheriff's department that you're working under. Because I also still wonder about where that piece of equipment resides and if it doesn't make it more sense for it to actually reside with the county sheriff compared to the Friends.
That's true with all the stuff we grant out. I'm sure that some of it gets used for.
But most of the search and rescue stuff's all going directly to sheriff sponsored SARS, right?
Yeah.
Not to other non.
Or like
groups.
EMS stuff, yeah. Okay. Supplies,
Which I guess.
yeah.
What you gonna do, Chair?
Yeah, I'm happy you're
Just to vote
interested in
again.
him. Well, so we could make a motion to keep the score as is with me to follow up on it.
Confirm that.
We have to confirm it and make sure, because with this, that we have to, our agreement is, now that we're merging with Office of Direct, it's going from 3 pages to 9 pages.
Right,
So it will be
So
thorough.
who was it that texted you with that information? Was that
So I believe that this
somebody that
was
we
past
know
applicant.
who they say they
I
are?
think there's somebody in for.
So this was Carrie from Ephraim Ambulance, and I believe that they applied.
As well, I think for search and rescue.
Okay, but would they be authorized to speak on behalf of this
No, I think
particular
they're just
grant?
saying overall.
So it's just somebody making a comment.
There was someone that texted me regarding it.
I would think as a council, we assume that all of the applications have the authority to do what they're asking to do. But maybe in this case, since the question was raised, we asked Rachel to
So
confirm
Ray texted me.
with the counties or with whatever sources that they really do have the authority to do what they're saying they have the authority to do before anything gets paid out.
Yeah, so Ray responded saying Sheriff Perkins has reestablished us as a county star outpost when he appointed the Tickaboo Volunteer Fire Department to us. His letter of support is attached. Garfield will have ownership of the machine. We have easily responded to emergency calls in the past, and Sheriff Perkins is working to get us one call access. We're now the Tickaboo Volunteer Fire Department. So,
Yeah, I think as long as you get whatever documentation you need.
so Ray, I'll need additional documentation for this, but I will follow up with you separately, okay? Do we feel?
Okay,
There's a letter of support from the sheriff, so.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're not done going through the names, right? Yeah. Or did we get them all?
We got them all.
All right.
Next one was withdrawn.
Yes, it was withdrawn. And then, so moving on to number 7, this is for Millard County, it's digital trail mapping. They're requesting $70,000, total project cost of $93,750. This is a tourism/other project.
Any comments or questions? No, I have a comment, but I'll let you go first.
Important to me.
Yes.
Okay, this is in conjunction with Duab County too. They're working together. It just, that kind of reiterates what I said before is I would like to see some consistency in the mapping process, and it looks like they're going to collaborate with each other, but again, I'm not sure that, okay, that seems like a lot of money, but again, I'm willing to see, let's see what kind of product they get, but I would love to see some of the things that we're paying for. I'd like them to come and make a presentation and show us the product, because I want to make sure we're spending money wisely.
But one thing I noticed is included in the 650 miles of trails is the high desert trail system, which Kit was talking about earlier. There's going to be if the legislation passes or the appropriations passes, there will be $1 million potentially appropriated to that trail system. And then also I noticed the Cricket Mountain Trail system. The state OHV department has already,
I believe so,
has online maps for that's where I first learned about the Cricket Mountain OHV trail system. So my first thought is what's different here?
Well, real quickly on the High Desert Trail, their request for $1 million, and I have the spreadsheet that was provided by Michelle. It is for basic infrastructure. So signage, kiosks, restrooms, also reimbursing labor costs. So it does not cover mapping.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. Also, the applicants that have already submitted grants for portions of this, that if this money is allocated, we'll just have them use the funding for something else for the High Desert Trail, but still keep the grant for it. So there's a couple that have funding for it already out there. I know Beaver County's one with their cultural clearance. And I think Millard County also, so they would keep their funding for the grant. It would just be used in another form for the same exact project. So, sorry.
No, thank you. That's helpful. Any other comments or questions? Let's go ahead and rate it.
Okay. All right, Kirk.
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Cheryl? Yes. Ready?
Yes.
Jason is gone. Scott?
Yes.
Tyson?
Yes.
And then Eric.
Yes.
So moving on to the next one, it is a trail work project. It is for blades and buckets from Manti LaSalle National Forest. They're requesting $63,500 for a total project cost of $85,686. And I don't know if you saw, I'm sure you guys all saw in the application, is that they have also requested us to, the OHV program, to outright fund a trail dozer. My response was, you can put it in the application, but especially right now that we do not have an OHV coordinator, I can't really make that approving authority. I don't have the authority to approve that. So yeah, we may be going back to the drawing board internally on it, but I'm not sure. So keep that in mind.
Any commentary or questions?
Not very much cash match, and generally, this is from the Forest Service. Generally, the Forest Service comes up with pretty good cash match.
I think they put a lot of stuff in the in-kind that should have been in the cash
You
column.
think so?
Yeah, because I mean, don't they have labor in there?
Well, they do. They're using volunteer and do the Forest Service have volunteers?
Yes, we do.
But they get paid though, don't they?
No. You go to the budget sheet. I
Um,
feel like this was one of the ones that I looked at that I was like, that should be more of a cash match. Keep going down.
They're also, it's my understanding, and I can pull up the email.
So yeah, their operator, the Sutter 300 operator and the conservation crew, that's all cash. That's all Forest Service funds going to that 16.5. And
We should ship
the
that over.
equipment rental is going to be Forest Service cash paying for that 2120, I'm sure. So I feel like they're looking at their, federal budget as in kind, but really it should just be the volunteer stuff over.
Or 300 that we don't even have to rent. They're wanting to rent a Sutter.
Could you- If it's from memory,
Bid from someone in Vegas that has the Sutter 300.
yeah.
Okay,
They're trying
perfect.
to rent it, but ideally they would like us to buy it.
By the Mini X.
The Mini X.
Yeah, rather than have the agency buy it, just because there's a whole story.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's a problem. So in the past, the state has purchased equipment and then donated it to different offices and yeah.
Right,
That's-
yeah.
I think that's what they're hoping for. Yeah, right, right.
For it.
But I mean, I feel like they said if that's not an option, they'd still move forward with the purchasing of the piece of equipment. So that's what I read in there. So
Perfect.
Should we read it?
Yes. Is there any discussion on increasing it where they can purchase it or no?
I feel like the piece of the equipment cost is going to stay the same.
Yeah, I think we're okay.
Yeah. Just more of the administrative side, which we typically don't count that in our grant matches, all of the stuff that happens behind the scenes. Grants work.
True, but for me.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I mean, that's something for you to consider if you guys do go through that process, if there's additional costs for for the program to pick it up.
For the Sutter 300, you mean?
No, for the Mini X.
Oh.
feel bad. I feel like I'm destroying Eric's life. Anyways.
No, I'm good. Sorry.
Destroying Eric's life.
Ron?
Yes.
I'm fine.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Brody?
Yes.
Jason? Oh, just kidding. Scott?
Yes.
Tyson?
Yes.
Eric? But I will work out with them what they intend to do. Okay, this is from Juab Search and Rescue. It is for Juab County Search and Rescue OHV. They're requesting $38,000. Total project cost is $50,500. And it is a SAR project.
Have we funded one recently for Juab County?
No. So this is, I believe this is the first time that we've actually received any applications from Geauga County. And when I spoke to him about this, I recommended that he reach out to the tourism director so that they could both work together on kind of grants and stuff. Anyways, so no, we have not.
Are you guys keeping track of all of the ones that we have sent to, like, SJs? So we're not like, we've given 5 side-by-sides to Geauga County.
Yes, but also with Chris is that he had the ability to like fund things outright for people, and I don't know where they
Yeah,
are.
but at
So-
least if it's documented in the FIG process, you are keeping track of who.
Yeah.
Well, at least we're not given the same side by side to the same agency every week cycle, because that could happen, and some of, we probably wouldn't notice it as
There's-
council members, at least not all of us.
Side-by-side review, side-by-side review.
And it's something that
Because I.
also, if we want to,
Jealous, it's important. I just want to make sure.
30, you'll have to go, time to go review the 30 from last quarter.
would it be easier at some point if I send out like a spreadsheet or I included a spreadsheet that
As
had?
long as you're just checking them when they.
I think this comes back to,
We're,
Yeah.
we're assuming that you're.
Yeah.
On top of that.
We're not having to go back 4 cycles and look to see it.
You notice something like that.
Geauga County data. Because really, I wondered the same thing when.
Honestly, yeah, so, any other discussion on it? Good.
Stuff.
Eric, it shows that this thing is gonna cost $48,000 for is that how much they cost?
So this one, I did look at that. I need to look at the budget again. Am I in the wrong one?
They got $38,000 in requested funds and $10,000 in cash, so that comes out to $48,000 for a side-by-side. That seems kind of expensive, isn't it?
It's,
37,000 for the side by side, 9,500 for accessory.
yeah,
Yeah,
I was gonna say 37 now.
yeah.
That's,
So they're some are upwards of 50.
They don't cost that much now, do they?
yes.
What's going on?
I have one sitting in my shop right now that I'm looking at every day. That's $45,000.
Okay.
Okay, okay. Okay.
There's one for sale at Carl Malone in Salt Lake.
Okay.
I think it's 60 grand and it's used.
No.
Gosh. So now, looks like I'll never.
That's all I wanted to ask.
My government budget.
It's not an old dirt bike.
Might be.
Hey, motorized.
Carol? Yes. Brody?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Scott?
Yep.
Oh, wait, did Jason come back?
Apparently.
That's so.
You found someone to stand in for it.
So,
Sorry,
Tyson.
I thought you said Tyson, not Jason.
Oh, okay.
I just thought you would stop asking for Jason. So, sorry.
I keep forgetting to stop asking for Jason, so I'm sorry.
First answer for you.
Yeah, just, Eric.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to the next one. It is for tourism and education. It is from the Emery County Historic Preservation Commission. It is for Willow Springs CCC Camp OHV Destination. They're requesting $3,690 for a total project of $4,890. I think it's cute.
The only thing I wonder about is it says the signs are approved, but then it also talks about a parking lot, and I don't know where they're buying road base, but that just feels so like inexpensive for road base.
It's right next to the road.
Okay.
It's an old CC camp, a big, huge camp
But
is
the
there.
parking
and
lot that
you-
they're
You
putting-
can just pull up, it's not a parking lot, it's just where they disturb the ground and,
Okay,
and the dirt has aggregate in it already.
okay, so
it's
they
just-
don't
it's
need a
just-
ton of it. I just
No.
felt like it was super inexpensive. I was like, oh, I don't know where they're buying road base, but
They're putting a kiosk
that's a
in.
great
And,
cost.
It's a historical one.
Yeah,
Lots of
I think it looks
people
cool.
drive by it, lots
Yeah.
of ATVers.
I like all the old pictures.
I know the old pictures are really, really awesome.
We good?
Yep.
Okay. Brody,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Tyson,
Yes.
Eric.
Yes. Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
And Charlie.
Charles?
oh, yeah. Sorry, that's my name.
Yeah, I'm helping.
All right, so this is for the OHV search and rescue operations from Emery County Sheriff's Office Search Rescue. They presented to us earlier today. They're requesting $22,206 for a total project of $29,609, 25% match, search and rescue.
Plus
They're 10, they wanted to add.
10,000 for a trailer for the motorcycles.
We approved that? Do we
It's
make
just
that?
something we need to consider.
No,
Yeah.
we didn't, we haven't talked about it. They just.
We talked about it, but it's up to us to make a,
Also, they let us borrow.
They did come to the rescue.
They did.
They literally rescued our meeting.
Yeah, they did. They did what they did.
They did what they do.
Yeah, they
Called the
search
person
and rescue
to
our
approach,
meeting.
And then they saved the day.
Did the right spot.
Yeah.
That was right there in action.
Discussion on the possibility of increasing it?
I see value in it. Well, they've already got the bikes. I think we funded one of the bikes. They bought another bike.
They were given a bike.
They were given a bike. Yep. And so it does make sense to keep them nice and
These guys put it in an
Yeah.
incredible amount of time. I tell you, I have no idea how Wade does it. I mean, besides that, not the search and rescue, he's trying to drag me out and put tracks on trails that they're trying to shut down. And so he's the regional director for probation for the southeastern part of the state. He's got a huge job, plus he does this, search and rescue, plus he does,
Yeah, that's incredible.
he's,
I think we should make a motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, okay, go ahead.
I would entertain a motion, and it would be nice if the motion included both the element of increasing the amount and of voting, so we don't have to vote twice.
I'll make the motion to increase the grant, $10,000 for the additional trailer, and also to vote on the grant.
I'll second the motion.
Please say your name.
Kirk seconds the motion.
Thank you. Obviously, at a later time, I will be getting an updated match. Okay, let's start. Scott,
Yes.
the motion and the vote. Tyson,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Charles, yes. Ready?
Yes.
Passes. It now is increased to $32,206. Moving on to number 13. This is for trail maintenance equipment from Emery County Public Lands. So I told you that they were presenting to us earlier, wrong number. They're requesting $17,750. Total project cost is $24,500.
Wait a minute.
Is 12 gone?
12 is gone.
Did
Okay.
we add the 10,000 with the wrong?
Nope.
Grant? Okay.
You might have.
I did on my notes.
She had us look at the wrong one, I think.
Oh, okay.
Earlier today I did. I told you the wrong number.
Okay. All right.
So that was my fault. Okay. Yeah, so we were at 13, 12 pulled back. They intend to come back and reapply when they have some more stuff. So again, $17,750. It is a trail work project. Any discussion?
Drone?
I said that it's something that the advisory council has not seen before.
Yeah, I was just curious when it was that.
I don't know. Up to you guys. I mean, it kind of,
What's the cost of the drone?
$2,500.
500.
Should know if that was something that can be funded through this or not.
I mean, so that's kind of the beauty of this grant is that it's really, there's not a lot of limitations on what it cannot fund. It's just if we have to make sure that we are being consistent. So if we move forward and do, Do you not fund a drone and like later on, unless it has like a big,
And what was the drone is needed to take video and pictures of motorized trails and routes.
yeah,
This will assist in trail maintenance projects, documenting route evaluations and working with the BLM and Forest Service to plan projects.
and they're providing a cash match with it too.
So I'm just gonna throw this out there is I would consider this if we maybe took the drone out of it. I'd hate to set that precedence right now and
Yeah. The only time I've seen the positive impact of their drone is on a search and rescue operation.
Yeah.
But those drones are $30,000 to $50,000.
Right.
They're a different kind of creature.
Well, a drone is not gonna give you,
Unless they're planning and coordinating with BLM to put new routes in, but I don't see that as.
you can walk as far away as a drone can fly, right? If it was.
Not really. I think this drone can fly about 5 miles away from where you're at, if you have somebody that's authorized to fly it that far.
So they're just hoping to fly the trails to see what work needs to be done.
yeah, but I mean, think about a satellite picture of a road versus when you drive on it. I don't know that a drone is gonna capture trail maintenance that needs done or doesn't need done. There's a component, I mean, you kind of have to touch it.
And I also think there's gonna be different considerations for the different land management agencies to be able to even be authorized to fly a drone and partnership and agreements. I mean, we have so many regulations even for our own staff to be able to fly drones or where we can or how we can use them. So I just,
It used to be like,
I don't know.
especially.
Yeah, you do,
Yeah.
you have to take it.
To fly that kind of drone, you actually have to have FAA clearance.
Yeah, yep.
Okay,
So I would agree with Ron's.
so if we take away the drone for the total project cost, I believe it'll be $20,700. Again, that'll be the total project cost. If we take away it from their budget for how much they're requesting, what was it, 17? Oh, sorry.
I would motion we remove the drone and $3,800 from their budget
Okay, so
Yeah.
38.
Approve it this.
for the drone. Remove the drone, which is a $3,800 budget item,
And vote at the same time.
but at the same time.
I don't second that, Eric.
You too.
Sorry, I'm just trying to. Now that we've implemented the match, it's very inconvenient. Okay, so their new project total requesting amount would be $15,250. Okay, so the motion, so scoring for decreasing the cost as well as making the motion. Who made the motion? You made the motion.
Kirk made the motion.
Kirk made the motion.
Eric seconded.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Eric,
Yes.
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Eric, yes. Ready?
Yes.
Jason, Scott,
Yes.
Jason.
Yes.
Moving on to the next one, it is for the Paiute Trail Committee. It's the Paiute Trail Branding and Public Education Initiative. They're requesting $56,000, total project cost of $76,000. It is, an education project.
Any comments or discussion?
Really, I mean, it looks like Vista Works is going to be doing the work for them. Are they going to be hiring somebody else to do this or?
Any insight on the Paiute Trail Committee who they're I mean, actually, Brody, do you have any insight on this grant? Or if Fred is available?
I don't have any insight onto this one. And so I can try to quickly reach out to Phil if we want to skip this and move on.
It doesn't, it's not.
It doesn't
Are there
matter.
any questions or comments that people have on the grant that we would need answers to?
I would just like to point out, if we take a look at their completed list, that they have completed everything that they said they'll complete.
Yeah.
Want to move to scoring? Go ahead. Okay, obviously, Fred will be abstaining because he's part of the Tight Trail Committee still.
I think he wrote a letter of support.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Ready?
Yes.
Jason, Scott,
Yes.
Tyson,
Yes.
and then Eric.
Yes.
Moving on to the next one, it's a trail work project. It is from Garfield County. It's the Garfield County Trails UTV, requesting $12,500, total project cost of $25,500, 51% match. So.
There you go.
Any questions, comments? So,
Cheryl,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Tyson,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
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 Okay, moving on to the next one. It is also for Garfield County. It's the Garfield County Search and Rescue UTV, requesting $18,750, total project cost of $25,500, 26% match.
Comment? It did say in there about using it for law enforcement. They would have to, pull that out of there, the law enforcement, correct?
So technically it cannot be used for law enforcement items. Fiscal incentive grant cannot be. But yeah.
I mean, I think I could approve it, but we would have to get a confirmation that it wasn't going to be used for law enforcement.
And
We'd have to drop that part of that, because that's in there.
And Rachel, I had a question on this too, with the HB 180 and the penalties and whatnot. Does that play into any effect with the law enforcement part of the grant?
Like, will it alter the fiscal incentive grant?
Well, so, we don't traditionally give out grants for law enforcement, but now with HB 180 saying that they're going to start, catching people and having them do community service to rebuild. How are they going to catch people if it's not with law enforcement? So I'm just kind of wondering, will that change how the grant works for law enforcement?
Brett, would you?
So the laws are already in place. It'll be a combination with the new plate, so we can identify them people. It'll be the public identifying us with the video. The Forest Service is even going to put some cameras out, so we can grant for some cameras, so that we can again, like I say, look at the plate. Garfield County, with the wide, how big of a county it is, they're going to start using their sheriff department, which is tied to the search and rescue to try to bust these people. So it's a combination of the sheriff department, the citizens and the force of that.
But it won't.
So it'll be a huge asset for them to be out and about on the trails.
Yeah, so back to Scott's, it's not shouldn't change this funding. What we're saying is, yeah, sure, we'll help fund it, but it can't be used for law enforcement, regardless of what HB
Yeah.
180 is. I mean, that's a whole separate conversation.
I think they would scratch it out just like that if we asked them.
Yeah. So, do you want to make a motion or should this be an internal thing?
Administration.
It's got to be administration. That was-
Lost without Chris. Okay, so that will be something that I will do. I will make note of it. But to move on to scoring, Brody,
Yes.
Yes.
Bryson,
Yes.
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 Ron,
Yes.
Cheryl.
Yes.
Moving on to the next one, it is for Utah/Arizona ATV Club. It's for their 2022 Kanab Red Rock Rally advertising and support. They're requesting $29,800. Total project cost is $41,277. And I believe this is for tourism.
That's number 17.
Yeah, 17.
Asking for comments?
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
When I've looked at this, it's kind of, looks to me like 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and 31, 34 are very similar in what they're looking for. And not all are cut and pasted, but most of them are. There's zero cash matches on any of them. It's all in kind, and it's for extras for the shooting the movie type stuff. I have some concern about the effectiveness of the money that's being put into this. Are we getting? It's not that they're not doing things out there. I'm not saying that, but how are we getting? This is $400,000 for those ones I just named. What are we getting out of it? I mean, we do get some, but I think this is an area that we need to discuss how this money is being spent and how effective. Last year, I dare say these people got $1 million from us. I'm not sure, have they completed all their projects? You know, how would you grade them? How good a job did they do? What kind of product? When they get done with it, is it going to be obsolete? There are several questions I like to ask, and that's my comments.
Other thoughts?
Does this follow the mission statement?
Pardon?
Does it follow the mission statement?
Advertising, right?
Does. I'm ready to vote.
That is just on 17, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Roger.
No.
Bryson,
No.
No.
Cheryl.
No.
Ready?
No.
Here on the next one, it is for tourism. It's for the San Juan ATV Safari. San Juan ATV Safari, it's their 20th anniversary promotion. They're requesting $48,000. Total project cost is $77,342. And again, it's for tourism.
Comments?
Same comment as I made on the last one.
Copied and pasted.
Copy and paste.
Tyson,
No.
No.
Eric,
No.
Ron,
No.
Jeff. Ready?
No.
And Scott.
No.
Moving on to the next one, it is for tourism and education. It's for Orderville City. It's Orderville OHV venue and ethics campaign. They're requesting $53,000. Total project cost is $73,485. Is there this?
Same as the other ones. That's my comment.
But my comment is the 17 and 18 seems to be targeted about a specific one-time event, which is a little different than just tourism in general.
Yeah.
But that's a difference that I noticed.
Any other discussion? Okay, Eric, you're up.
The House Bill 180 is part of the ethics education process, is not? Okay. So now you're gonna have a requirement from the state to pass an ethics class in order to operate your OHV.
That's true.
Go ahead.
So my opinion, we spent thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to educate.
Right.
Whether it's through AYL or presentations or grants, and it's just all over the board.
You've used the carrot for a long time. Now it's time to get the stick out.
And finally, we're just not reaching out social media. We're just not hitting everything. And so that's one of the purposes of 180, is try to get everybody with a little bit, to educate them what the laws are. So that's going to kind of cover the education thing. And they can search further. They'll be like, they'll still be running their videos to protect themselves. But it's basically going to introduce it to all OHV operators in state and out of state.
Right.
I think it's going to take care of us having to keep messing more. They don't help.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
This on 19 then?
Yeah.
Yes.
They have no cash match. If they thought it was that important, you would think they would put some cash into it. Again, all the in-kind is volunteers riding their machines and taking the video in them. And so, maybe, and again, I have to emphasize, they're not that they're not doing stuff. They have been. Maybe we should say no for this quarter and try to review the effectiveness of what they've gotten before in the past and say, hey, let's look at what you had. Maybe have them come and make a presentation to us and say, hey, this is what we've been doing and this is the product we have. I just don't want to throw them out.
Yeah.
But
one thing to keep in mind is if this bill passes, it won't go into effect until January 23.
Yeah.
Any kind of education you can do to help the program is definitely an asset for me. You can't have too much education. So anyway, that's a year away. So
I guess of all of these types of projects, like Scott's saying, what ones have been completed, what were the products? It'd be really good to hear some kind of a review of maybe success of this type of product.
if they had some money, if they had some cash money into it, I would say,
Yeah.
hey, yeah, let's do this. Or
To give you an idea of the completed projects, but I know it's hard to see, but the ones in green, really hard to see, have been completed for these type of projects. So out of,
somebody disagree with me. I want a discussion on this. Are we using the money correctly?
I like the idea of having someone who has received an application and it's been completed for them to present and kind of explain how it went so that we know if the funding is worthwhile. No, I don't mean that in a bad way. I just think.
My thought, as I'm looking here, first 2 quarters, we spent 346 on the tourism side of it anyway. We spent 346,000 on tourism, which is 22% of what we've spent in those 2 quarters.
Just need some more trail work, man.
And that's where,
Yeah.
But, well, and we're still not really sure what, I mean, maybe Rachel knows more, but I agree with Scott. Like, I'd like to understand the product. I'd like to understand the benefits, the success. Yeah. Before we just keep adding money to the same process.
Yeah.
So we did, in February 21, we approved a FIG for Orderville for promotion. It looks like they did complete that. At the same time, we approved one for some trail mapping. And that one hasn't been completed yet.
That's because I think these guys are coming back for more promotion and more mapping.
I'm ready to vote.
And we aren't really sure how the first one goes.
So do we want to,
I'd say you vote on it.
yeah, let's vote. All right, I think you are up, Kurt.
No.
Ron?
no.
Ready?
No.
And Tyson?
No.
Wait, Eric too. All right, the next one is also for Orderville City. It is for Orderville online trail maps. They're requesting $12,000. Total project cost is $16,739. Any discussion? I'm gonna take that as a no. You are the first one to score.
I mean, I guess just real quick, Rachel, I mean, is it still a goal to keep trying to do more of these online 360 mapping projects? You know, is that kind of the goal to just keep adding more and more maps to that 360 trail? Because that's what this one is, right? It's another one of the 360.
They're mixed in together. These 2 grants are kind of like this.
Yeah, they're kind of intertwined. But I mean, if there is a value and we are getting a lot of success, like if we know the trail mapping part of it is more successful,
yeah,
for instance, then, and we want to keep adding more of those, that to me, I see it a little different than the one we just voted on, I guess, but I just don't know. I still don't know on that.
That's where I'm at. Is I don't know.
What success are we
and
seeing even with this
To
online?
spend 22%
Yeah,
on what we don't know yet. And there could be, there could be some good things happening from it, but what's the yardstick that we measure that with?
I don't know.
There's a little bit of discrepancy in their application where they have said that they don't have any previous grants in this application.
No.
In the previous application, they listed their other 2 grants.
actually, I think if it's,
Is Orderville City is both of them.
I'm pretty sure that because a lot of these applications came in for early review. And I'm pretty sure, I remember one application, they did not have one application showed that they did have prior grants, one application showed it did not. I wonder if that was Orderville.
It is.
I was just looking for
All for you.
me. Anyways, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I
wouldn't have happy to participate.
That's the same. I agree with that. So the thing that I'm struggling with this one is I agree with everything we're discussing. Okay, I really do. The thing is Orderville is so busy right now. I don't know if you guys have been through there lately, but connects over into Coral Pink Sand Dunes. You've got a couple rental companies in town. I mean, there's back ways to get over into all of that. Peekaboo Canyons on this, and it's kind of a neat area for the side-by-sides. And it is tough to find a map for the area, an accurate map. And so, we're all kind of on the fence, or maybe we're not on the fence, we're falling off the fence. But I see more value in this one than the full-on advertising. And if we can help Orderville out, and maybe this is one to see, and hey, why don't you come back to us and show us some of your success with what we've got here. So that's my only comment. Well, I guess not my only comment.
Well, and I'd be curious because they said the trail mapping that we funded in 21 is not done yet. And so, but they're coming for additional funding for more mapping. And so I guess just something for you maybe to check in, like where are we at with
for
that?
3 trails, and they're coming back for 3 more trails.
Right. But their other one's not completed yet.
And you know what? I'm not as much concerned about those 3 trails as the product itself.
Yeah.
Are people utilizing the
Right.
product? I'm not sure if you guys went out and looked at what the product is.
Yeah, we've talked about that at every council meeting, but I think that's the question, right? I don't know.
Brett, you have some in?
But mapping to me is different than advertising.
Yeah, I kind of did research a little bit. I'm on the paper map guy. But I've done a lot of research and find out if people really like this, and they do. A majority of them do. And what I found out is who's going to own the data? If we're using our OHV money, who's going to own the data? And is it always going to be available to package it up and have a one big bung at? And apparently it is available to the counties to apply for it. So that data will never go away. So I don't know. I think over time it could be packaged. It's not going to go anywhere in the data. So it's a really big thing. And more old school.
I've struggled with the product. I have seen some product that, well, I'll just say I've struggled with. I've looked at it multiple times, and right now it's cumbersome to use, and that's my opinion. And but there are people, I'll have to agree with Brett, that there are people that have told me that they've had one on there and used it effectively. I believe that the product's going to be obsolete soon, if it's not already obsolete, because people are already coming up with stuff that's better than that right now. And so that's.
Again, somebody should be able to talk to how many hits, how many people are using. I mean, there should be data behind utilization of these 360 maps.
And that could be something that I do.
There's a lot of free YouTube video out there. If I want to go ride, I hop on YouTube and I type in the trail, and I'll have a bunch of free YouTube video. Plus, actually 360 imaging on there too. There's
even 360 videos on some of
the
the
hiking stuff. There is a lot of it coming out. People that have personal ones they put on their pack. And again, I'm not saying these people aren't doing things. They're out going and doing things. I'm not sure that this is where we need to be spending our money right now. And if we take a 3-month break and we decide that it's good on the next round, no problem, other than we got a 3-month gap there.
Okay. So, do you want to vote?
Let's vote.
I think we were on, I'm just, Cheryl, let's start with you. Try to change it.
We'll see more information.
Ready?
Or what did she say? I couldn't hear that.
I said no because I want more information on the ones we have funded.
The video garbled for a sec. I'm going to say no also.
Okay. Scott?
No.
Jason?
No.
Eric?
No.
Eric?
No.
Ron?
Ron? Just debating.
I'm going to say yes.
Okay. Okay, so the next one
I
is.
like the message of the one versus the other.
Mhm.
Why I want
Okay, the next one is search and rescue. It's for San Pete Search and Rescue side by side and equipment. It is from San Pete Sheriff's Department Search and Rescue. They're requesting $20,454. Total project cost is $42,954. 52% match. Discussion, questions?
They are buying the machine. They're just asking for accessories, radios, and a trailer.
Anything else?
We have significant skin in the game.
Yeah. Brody, you're up.
Yes.
Yes.
Tyson,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Kirk,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
and Cheryl. Yes. Moving on to Richfield City. It is for digital mapping for 3 trails near Richfield. They're requesting $12,000. Total project is $16,939. It is in other category. Be careful. Is there any discussion on these?
I have something. This is Brody.
Okay.
Iron County is going to be looking at doing something quite similar to this, and they gave us a demonstration of something that looks like this, and it's kind of cool. You quite honestly, I feel like you're Superman flying right along the trail. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen, and if it's the exact same thing that our county will be looking at, and so it's just amazing. Our county was going to be using some kind of an enhanced Google Earth, and the imaging was better than anything I've ever seen on Google Earth. And so I guess it's a professional quality, just amazing. But if it's the same thing, which I'm not 100% sure, but as I've been reading through it and looking at it, it almost seems like it's the exact same thing. So
That grant that we approved here last cycle with Uinta County was doing Utah.com, and that is a whole different level of video. It's different, and it's a high end. I was impressed when I seen what they were doing.
Right now, Utah.com. I'm meeting with someone on next Monday. Valentine's Day. Utah.com cleared house completely. Fired everyone. The grants are still in place. They just have new people managing them. And so it'll likely have to go through, pretty much just send me an updated letter stating that there's going to be a slight changeover. But so I assume that's probably why they did not apply this quarter.
I think this is the same to the project that we just sent out to for order bill. It's that same 360 trail map.
It is.
I
was just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that the company that's
different.
producing this other stuff, I don't know who it is. I have a name and I'd have to call them, but I was impressed and I go, okay, this is a whole nother level above what they were doing. Trail video for bikes, for ATVs, for side-by-sides, for four-wheel drives.
The one that you saw presented.
The one, yes. And so I know they haven't finished it, so maybe that was part of the problem because they've shut that operation down. So
it's just that it's going to be delayed.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
Okay.
It's just because and I have a meeting on Monday with them, so to discuss it further. So just figured I'd let y'all know. Should we score?
I just want to make one comment on just kind of an ongoing discussion. I like how we're just getting little pieces of the same discussion further and further every third or fourth one. It would be nice to have the map that you want for everything and have it all be the same, but to me, it's better to have a map than to have the perfect map. I would love it if the Forest Service and the BLM and all the different agencies had the same system, the same map. I could look at one place instead of having 3 different maps. Some of them are just black and white with, with just a squiggly, topography. Some of them are more, some of them are less, some of them show all the designated routes, some of them just show the one. I mean, it's a hodgepodge and it's a mess, and it's probably always gonna be some level of a mess. And for me, if the map is useful, even if it's not the best, I'd rather have a map than the perfect map. So if it's an area that we don't have a good map on yet, or a trail we don't have a good online map for yet, I'm more interested in that than having the perfect product that I want, because I know I'm not gonna get that, and it'll be obsolete. It's obsolete so quick. So that's just, that kind of is where my last vote was at, is just sending that message.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to add that. Any other comments, discussion? Should we vote?
I believe you were up first.
I am,
Yeah.
and no, that's 22, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tyson,
No.
Eric,
No.
Kirk,
No.
Ron,
Yes.
Carol,
No.
Brody.
Yes.
And then Jason, I don't know if you heard that conversation or not, but it seems like you came back on. Maybe not.
No, for me.
No? Okay. Will you please shoot me an email with your remaining scores for, it looks like it's 3 through 21?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so the next one is again, for Richfield City. It is for Richfield City ATV Promotion and Education Project, requesting $56,000, total project cost of $78,542. And this is a tourism and other.
Okay. Thank you.
We don't have any money in this.
Any discussion?
I have comments.
So you do.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to dig through, and my machine needs to be upgraded. It's obsolete.
Like that. I'm just gonna check that.
The name has been changed, but it's the same product. The name has been changed, same product.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other? No. Okay. Tyson, you're up.
No, please.
No, Fred. Eric.
No.
Tyson's no, please. Ron.
No.
Okay. Cheryl. No. Brody.
No.
Jason.
No.
Sorry, Scott too.
No.
Moving on to Motorized Bureau of Land Management Ranger, BLM Richfield Field Office. They're requesting $30,000. Total project cost of $54,288 is for a trail work. Discussion?
Ready to vote.
Okay, I guess they're ready. So Eric.
Yes.
Okay. Kurt.
Yes.
Ron.
Yes.
Carol. Yes. Brody,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
and Tyson.
Yes.
Moving on to the Paiute Trail Committee, Paiute and Great Western Trail Counter Replacement Project. They're requesting $9,240. Total project cost of $12,320. It is for a trail work project. Any discussion?
This is 25, right?
Yes.
And it was all about trail counters, no law enforcement, right?
Correct. Had law enforcement in there? Oh, okay.
No.
Any discussion other than that?
The data is super important.
I agree. Kirk,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Freddie,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Tyson,
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to number 26. This is for Fillmore City. It's for online trail guides. They're requesting $12,000. Total project is $16,425. It is for an others category.
Comments?
Same thing, different title, yeah.
I have that same comments as the other ones.
Okay. Ron,
Yes.
Joe, Brody,
Yes.
Scott.
No.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Jason,
No.
Jason,
No.
and no. Eric,
No.
Eric. Okay, so this is also for Fillmore City. It's for their OHV public outreach campaign. They're requesting $55,000. Total project cost is $76,970. It is a tourism project.
Being based from the previous.
Okay. Cheryl?
No.
Brody?
No.
Jason?
No.
Scott? Jason?
No.
Eric?
No.
Ron?
No.
Okay, moving on to the next one. It is for Panguitch. Panguitch City OHV Tourism Promotion requesting $54,000. Total project cost of $78,024. I think you got it.
Yes. Correct.
It is for tourism.
$54 is important.
Any discussion on this one?
Vote.
28, right?
Yes.
Yes. Brody?
No.
Jason?
No.
No.
Jason?
No.
Eric?
No.
Kirk?
No.
Ron?
No.
No. No. Okay, moving on to the next one. It is also for Panguitch. It is for their OHV Tourism Online Trail Maps. They're requesting $12,000. Total project cost of $16,739. It is an others category. Anything?
The only thing I can say through the whole process, if they would have had skin in the game, I would have thought about it a whole bunch more, but none of these entities put any cash value at all into any of these. And so that would have made a difference of what I'm saying right now. Is if they thought it was that important, they would have put money into this, cash money into it, okay? And I'm actually being critical right now. But I think that message needs to be sent out, that if you feel it's important, then you put skin in the game in this thing.
I honestly feel like the contractor that's getting the contract wrote all these grants and just had them sign off on them. That's what it feels like to me, because they're all a fairly copy paste, modify a couple of bucks and on we go. And this is not, the FIG grants aren't support tourism, it's trail protection, new trail maintenance, mapping.
Jason, do you want to start us out?
Yes, I want to start us out, but with a no.
Okay.
That's smarty. No.
Tyson,
No.
Eric,
No. No.
Ron,
Yes.
Joe,
No.
and Brody.
Yes.
Okay, next one is for search and rescue.
Can I just add Rachel, for all of those too, I think before more applications are submitted for the same thing with a little different title and changing the money just a little bit, the bigger thing we want to have addressed is how have the projects worked in the past? Was it successful? How can we measure their success? You know, how do we know that people are really behind those projects? Those kinds of information, I think, is going to help a ton. And if it cannot be so cut and paste form letter to help understand what it's going to mean to those different communities, I just think there's ways they can improve it for sure. So I'll just throw that out there. I'd hate to see, because I feel like these are almost the exact same as some of the other ones, just with some very minor tweaks. And we just spent all that time again reviewing them for similar results. So
yeah, no, and I get it. It's also, if people take the time and create really thorough applications, it's hard, you know?
right, it takes them a lot of time. So I just hope that we're getting that message across of what we're looking for if we're gonna see those again.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to number 30, it is for Juab County OHV patient faster access. This is from the Juab County EMS department, not their search and rescue. They're requesting $39,363, total project cost of $52,485. It is search and rescue.
Comment? Every one of these counties along the west side of the state applied for money for mapping. And there is a big chunk of money, plus this route they want to put out there. I sure hope there's some coordination between these counties that the product they produce is the same. And I would request that you send that message out to all of them, that we want a product that will blend in with whatever is new, the technology we have today, that they work together. I'm not against giving them money, but I want a product that is good.
And just so that people are clear, Scott's comment was for the trail mapping and the promotion, not the Juab County.
Yes.
So we're looking at e-bikes, right?
Yes, sorry.
No, can we just finish?
Yeah, we just finished. You're good.
I missed that one. Okay, 30, we need to go to 30, right?
Yep.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
This-
I should be wrong.
So this is for e-bikes. To give everyone a little bit of reference, and I'm sure Chris, I don't know if anyone remembers this when Chris said it, the e-bikes in RTP are technically motorized. We haven't encountered e-bikes within the fiscal incentive grant yet. So
Really, it's just a different type of equipment utilized to respond to OHV accidents.
Mechanized is mechanized.
good.
That's how they're looking at it.
Yeah.
There's 6 of them, is what they're asking for. And they're saying they're only used as a supporting role. I mean, we've all been involved with this kind of thing before. Juab County has a lot of sand, loose type terrain. My concern a couple times was, you know, is this really going to help them? And
Yeah.
And I don't know, that was my thought on this one. Judd County is so busy with their search and rescue, and, the Little Sahara Sand Dunes is part of where they're at. And I mean, Life Flight flies over my house every weekend a lot. And I'd love to help these guys. I help with our races and all that. I just don't know how meaningful an e-bike would be. They obviously think it would be.
Yeah, their application seems to imply that the e-bikes can go someplace that other equipment can't go.
I say they can get there quicker, maybe, on an e-bike.
Instead of unloading, loading.
This one I spent quite a bit of time on because I was trying to I go, you know what? Maybe I can make this successful. So I called and I talked to several different people about mountain bikes. And the only thing that I could come up with was that would maybe perhaps fit into this category was two-wheel drive, fat tire, throttle assisted, pedal assisted bicycles, but they would have to be fat tire. They would have to be two-wheel drive. And I did talk to the manufacturer, and they work exceptionally well in soft sand. I was surprised. I told them, I said, you know what, it'd really be neat to get one of these and go see how it works. I talked to search and rescue people, and they go, I talked to these people, what about using a motorcycle? And I said, do you know how hard it is for a motorcycle to go through that stuff? And especially if you have a backpack on, with emergency gear on it. And they said, well, the people that we'd be using this are afraid of motorcycles. That's the comment I got back. And I said, well, I don't see how a mountain bike would fit this. And so that's what I did. I spent a lot of time trying to find out an avenue. And I thought to myself, perhaps if they bought the right thing, maybe perhaps it could help them a little bit. But that particular bike weighs 95 pounds. So it isn't like it's a regular mountain bike, but it was designed to go hunting with, and it has racks on it. And I thought, so I'm not sure, not against saying, try a couple of these or reapply for a grant and say, we would like to try a couple of these before we have 6 of them. But they couldn't have a regular standard pedal assisted electric mountain bike to do stuff out in the sand because it will be a mess. Don't you agree with me? And I don't know if this fat tire one would work. You have to get one and go try it out with a backpack on with gear on it to see how it works.
Scott, did they offer to come out and show you?
The manufacturer? No, but they actually, what the manufacturer said, we have had several inquiries exactly about what you're talking about. And I said, well, that's interesting. The person I talked to gave me some pretty good input and told me places that didn't work very well and places, and it said it actually works better in soft sand than it does on the beach because you get in the sand is heavier there. So anyway, that's my comments.
Okay, Jason raised his hand.
Yeah,
Jason?
just a matter of just a matter of technicality, going along with Scott's comment. So if they're using this for people that are scared of the motors on motorcycles, then that's not who we're supposed to be funding this for. If it's search and rescue, it should be going towards OHV related search and rescue, which I don't think they're the ones that are afraid of motorcycles.
I don't know that I would agree because you're going to get all sorts of different people on a search and rescue team. And especially if a lot of them have volunteer, staff. And so to me, it would be like us critiquing whether or not they want a different kind of mobile handheld radio device compared to, what they're trying to do is find a different tool to get access to OHV injured patients. And so to me, maybe we don't feel comfortable with 6, but if they've done the research and they feel like this is a tool that would allow them to respond faster to people who have had an accident, I don't know.
I guess you push it back on people that spend a lot of time out in the sand and how difficult it is to get through and what kind of pieces of equipment you use to get into the sand.
Right. And that's, I don't know. They would have to look at those bikes, but I do know like the fat tire bikes, the e-bikes, they'll go, they go in snow. And so I think if this entity has done their research and they feel like this would be a viable way to go get to someone faster in these locations. Maybe it's not an investment of 6, but maybe it's an investment of a
I'm
couple.
not sure
I don't
the
know.
people that applied for it did that investment.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
I got to the manufacturer,
Right.
looking at different machines.
Right.
The bottom line is, I don't think it would work right now unless we did some experimenting, and I'm not ready to do some experimenting.
Yeah.
Okay. Ready?
Well, there's 2 things in that grant. There's these e-bikes, and then we have there's I think the trailer.
In close
Transport the e-bikes.
Store and transport.
Okay.
Related gear.
Well, I thought they were going to put the e-bikes on the ambulances on a rack on it, wasn't they? Isn't that what it said?
I think the UTV trailer was for the side-by-side that we had in a
Yes.
different
Yes.
grant.
It does say that.
I think so. That's
Yeah,
the,
I think that's what it's for.
Yeah, it's for-
side by side, isn't it?
Oh, and I think, is it the side-by-side that they just applied for?
I don't know.
No, this is EMS.
Yeah.
Joab County EMS.
Something different though. It's not for the,
So do we want to fund?
And it says Joab County is asking for help in funding a closed trailer that we can keep these during busy seasons
oh, out
and
on
to
site.
store our side-by-sides in.
Oh,
So both.
I would assume they're probably looking at these kind of bikes for someplace like Little Sahara, because you've got how many campers out there that are
Right.
responding to.
you got tons of trails that are off the dunes and, I mean,
I can see the purpose of it based on the population boom that happens at Little Sahara every weekend. You know, they're gonna transport 6 bikes out there. And somebody falls in the fire pit.
for ground.
It's a fairly common occurrence, I would not say. I mean, I don't go out to Little Sahara, so I couldn't tell you, but put 5,000 people in an area, somebody's gonna do something stupid.
I've done stupid things.
Yeah. And so stitches or bandages or, you know, the small responses where someone can pedal out there on this kind of equipment probably alleviates the need for them to drive a full-fledged ambulance. That's where they're probably seeing the use for that. And then, you know, the minor things, obviously, if it's a major wreck, they're going out, you know, obviously the helicopter's showing up. It's a major wreck.
Yeah.
But the small responses are probably what's overwhelming that EMS crew.
For the cost there, I would say fund a side by side. I mean, that's,
Problem is,
That's what-
side by side can respond to 1 call. 6 bikes can respond to 6 small calls. And that's what I'm looking at. Like if this is the EMS department responding to Little Sahara, how many of those, I fell in the fire, I broke a window on my arm, I need stitches, what calls are they getting where somebody needs bandages, you know, or they cut their elbow because they rolled their side by side. So 1 EMS personnel can respond to that while the others are responding to different calls. So they're
Looking at pairs of dues.
right. So you've got 3 people, 3 different groups now that can be serviced at the same time. Now, if you have a major call, you know, a rollover with a fatality or a critical injury, it's EMS, helicopter, life flight, side by sides going out there. They already have a side by side. So they're using that, obviously.
They're trying to diversify their tools. That's all it is.
That's what I'm seeing is happening is they're seeing a need for it at some level that we probably don't understand. And I've seen what happens at Little Sahara just based on the commotion that goes on out there. You get enough people out there, they are responding to those rinky-dink calls, as I call them, you know, just little ones, where you don't need a full ambulance out there. You need somebody to put a bandage on somebody, get them patched up and on their way.
So do you feel a standard mountain bike pedal assisted one would electric would be?
This isn't a pedal. This is a 50-mile range. This thing has a 50-mile range on it.
50 mile an hour.
No. What I mean.
It goes 30 miles an hour.
It gets stuck in the sand, gets stuck.
It's a fat tire bike.
You know.
I don't know what lights and sirens on a bicycle are going to do.
Sand out. I mean, there's.
If they're responding in their
trails
campground, for example, they're not riding up a sand dune. They're not.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of dirt trails around that too, right? It's not all just 100% sand in that area. Cause you got all this stuff that goes out into Cherry Creek and I don't know.
Brody,
Brett, you have a comment?
and then Brody.
What if we funded the dealer and funded 2 bikes with the requirement that they report back to us how and if it was worthwhile, maybe even get some statements from some of the victims of some of these small accidents that say, hey, these people came out fast on a bike, and then maybe we could fund the other 4 the end of the year in November or something.
Let me try it.
Brett, I never ever thought that something like this would pop up, but I find it kind of interesting. It is a tool.
Yeah.
It is always, if they're gonna use it for always be related, and if you go to the dunes, I mean, it's crazy, it's a madness for these guys to be able to scoot around. And it's a pretty good tool.
Yeah.
You know, I would never think I'd want to support.
How much, what's the
I think it might be, you know, it's a lot of hard gravel unless you go out on the dunes, and that's the campers are. They can scoot around.
How many campers are on a weekend?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know how many responses, how many search or EMS responses there are. I don't know, a lot of times they have an ambulance that's on site
Yeah.
for the big weekends and for the races, you know, the dirt bike races, they normally have someone on site. I've dealt with them. They're a great group of people, and I can see, you know, they're afraid. You know, I can see that there's a couple of the members that I've met that might be afraid of riding a motorcycle, but they're still pretty effective with their side-by-side that I was involved with. But yeah, it's another tool.
Just a different tool.
Oh,
Sell me this thing.
I'm going to. I'm gonna vote here in a minute.
I'm trying to get the pros because I don't spend, I hate sand. I hate sand with a passion, so I don't.
I don't think what you're
But it's not
thinking about
just sand.
is you're thinking about out on the sand, right?
Right, and you're
The
thinking,
majority of these small incidents that are happening are in the campground, right? You've got 250 camp trailers out there and 5,000 people in a small community over the weekend. Something happens every weekend. And so they can get around that campground significantly faster to manage that type of injury.
Clean on the bike to take out there. Like, they talk about additional gear, bags and things and horns and
So, as an example, I fall and need stitches,
EMS.
right? I fall and split my elbow open because I tipped over my motorcycle. Instead of having an ambulance come out there, they come and ace bandage and butterfly bandage my elbow so that I can get to the clinic later to get it stitched. It relieves the pressure on the entire ambulance crew by having 1 or 2 people respond instead of having the entire
do they
ambulance.
have like an ambulance stationed out there on busy
Yes.
weekends?
So, I mean, really what you're looking at is these people, I'm sure, are gonna go out, they're gonna do basic patient assessment, come up with what's needed, treat the little things and communicate the big ones. It's a way to triage. It's
They carry a lot of weight. I mean, I'm checking in to get one. I'm getting old and my knees are young. But they got them for hunting.
Yeah.
And they're camel.
You put a rack on them.
Gear. I mean, yeah. I think it might be a pretty cool too.
on a side note, you'll have to let me know how that is. The e-bike for hunting, like,
Well, I don't want, I want to buy it because I don't want to pedal.
Work well.
What I was looking at was made for hunting. This would work very well for hunting. And you can get 500,000 watt, 1,500 watt ones.
The one in their application is 1,000 watt.
Yes, and so
I'll ask you some questions about.
That's what they do, report back.
Should we vote on it?
Vote on it.
Yes.
to change it.
We're gonna start with Tyson.
Was there a motion?
No.
I think
Change it? I don't think change it. We had a motion.
Let's keep as is. Vote as is.
As is.
as is. Okay, Tyson,
Yes.
Eric,
No.
okay, Kirk,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Brody,
No.
Jason,
Yes, but I like the idea of having them come back in a year and telling us how they used them and how they work for them.
Scott?
The way it's written, no. If it was adjusted, to try them out, I would say yes, but it's no.
Okay. So that one may change, especially based on what Fred has to say. So as it stands right now, majority voted yes, but it could change. Okay, moving on to Iron County. It's for GIS support and equipment. It's Color County OHV Trail System. They're requesting $50,000 and $50,000 and never mind. A little over $50,000. Total project cost is $66,305. It is for trail work as well as other. Any discussion?
Have something. This is Brody. I just want to declare that I broke Mike Worthen's chainsaw, and I suggest that he put in for a new one because I broke his other one.
Nice. Good job, Brody.
Hey, I'm trying my best.
We trust you.
So, okay, other than the chainsaw, is there any other discussion on it? No? Are we ready to vote?
Just have to make sure I'm on the right one.
31.
One that they did several different project types, GIS support equipment, trailer, OHV side-by-side, and maps and miscellaneous supplies. There's lots of things
Okay,
in this
yeah,
one.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah, there is.
But they wrote it out pretty well, that you could tell.
I will say that Iron County is very good at closing out their grants on time.
They had it in there very, separated and easy to tell all the different components, but it got a lot of variety in the one application.
Yeah, I know I was trying to figure out what they were doing and I was like, stop. Right, anyways, Eric.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Ron.
Yes.
Cheryl. Yes. Brody.
Yes.
You abstain. Just kidding. Jason.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Tyson.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to number 32, Wellington City OHV Trail final phase. They're requesting $39,000, total project cost of $54,000. It is for trail work. Any questions, comments?
The cost of things have tripled over the last 2 years. It's just crazy, the cost change from the beginning of this to now. We've had 2 floods down through there, major floods that have just caused a lot of extra work, but the cost has just went through the roof.
Yeah, and I've worked, Bethany and Joan, Bethany more so, I've worked with her a lot, and just trying to figure out how they can finish their projects based with the money that they have. Because they're still working on, I think it's their second phase of it. And I think they're going to ask for help from our trail crew to go out there. And
That's awesome.
They're building a new trail.
Let's do it. That's right.
I know.
They're right down in town, like in people's.
And it goes past, I've gone down it.
Yeah.
There's some like
Fences and gates are.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can go on about it. I know a lot about this.
Yeah, no, that was one I was like, I think we could do that kind of fence. And
Yeah. Do you want to vote? Kirk?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Brody?
Yes.
Jason? Did Jason leave again? Okay. Scott?
Yes, for me.
Oh, wait, did Tyson speak for Jason?
We can't tell the difference when you say Tyson or Jason.
Okay.
Both of them said yes.
Both said yes. Okay. Moving on. We'll figure out a solution next time, okay? So this is also for Wellington City, Wellington Online Trail Maps. They're requesting $12,000, total project cost of $16,825. I believe this is an other category.
This is a copy and paste.
Same thing.
Yeah.
The next two.
Votes. Okay, Ron.
Yes.
Oh. Brody.
Yes.
Jason. Jay.
No.
Scott.
No.
I'm Tyson.
No.
Tyson T. No. Okay. Eric.
No.
Eric. We're on to the next one. Also Wellington Tourism Promotion Project. They're requesting 50,000, 50600 for a total project cost of $71,602. This should be a tourism project. Any discussion on it? Vote. Cheryl. No. Brody.
No.
Jason.
No.
Okay. Scott.
No.
Tyson.
No.
Eric.
No.
Kirk.
No.
Ron.
No.
Okay, this is our last one. And number 35, it is Duchesne County Heavy Equipment Operator Training taking place in Duchesne County. They're requesting $14,000, 14, I hate this, for a total project cost of $23,731. It is a trail work project.
I see they've got a FIG grant for some trail construction equipment, but they haven't completed that project yet. Assuming they have other trail building equipment we're going to be using.
This is purely a training.
Yeah, this is purely training.
The Wheeler Training Facility.
All right.
I think the training's for the county equipment, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think
They'd be utilizing county equipment on, yeah.
And I think the first time they applied was last quarter. They had 2 grants in there. So yeah, they just be using equipment provided for the training. And then they'd be using their own equipment.
Sounds like they're training 7 of their employees to operate the skid steer and the excavator.
With how hard it is to get equipment operators, I actually think this is a pretty cool model. I'd be curious to know how this works.
And
it's very difficult to get equipment operators.
I've worked with Mike since he began applying with these as of last quarter, and he's been very responsive, and yeah, he's been great to work with. Also, he just invited us to go promote our grants down south, so I can always follow up with him and stuff. So also 41% match.
Brett, do you have a comment? I'll be quick. I'm working on the Badlands Trail System. I've been working in Duchesne for 15 years. We're having a hard time getting operators. I mean, we can get the truck out, have it up there, but getting an operator is very difficult. And so this is highly recommended that they get maybe even some of their county workers to learn how to operate the trail camp. And maybe different things like that for the trucks. You know, they don't have to figure truck loaders, but they're not really familiar with it. So I think that's probably what they're up to.
Yeah, it's extremely challenging to hire equipment operators.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Vote.
Okay. Jay is in Jason.
Yes.
Awesome. Scott.
Yes.
Jason Tyson.
Yes, please.
Eric.
Yes.
Kirk.
Yes.
Ron.
Yes.
Cheryl.
Yes.
Brody.
Yes.
Okay, that is it. Obviously, some total project costs will need to be updated, but this quarter we funded $1,226,243 worth of grants. Awesome. Okay, so now we have to approve these.
Yeah, what else is on the agenda there?
We have to recommend the approvals. Wow, guys, it's 9:30.
All right, let's quickly vote
Yeah,
to recommend. What, remind me what we're doing.
we're the
We're
recommendation.
advancing this recommending the approved grants to the state.
Yeah, because it's an action item.
It's an action item. Okay,
Or there was.
that it is a.
Okay,
item.
who's gonna make the,
I will make a motion.
great.
And I'll second, this is Scott Witt, I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I.
Any
Yep.
opposed? I took it. Okay. Next it is, I'm sorry, I'm just taking over it. Next is the approval of last quarter's meeting minutes. Is there any edits on it, or can we make a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the notes.
Okay, any opposed? Well, and all in favor?
Do we need a
I'll
second?
second that.
Okay,
Thanks.
and all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay.
The last item before we adjourn is, and I sent them out earlier today, it's just some suggested dates for the remaining of the year. I can send out a doodle poll for these if it's easier, if we just want to get.
I like to do a poll.
Okay.
Well, for everybody, I like them.
Great,
Like to spend the next 40 minutes partying.
yeah. Doodle poll will be sent out later this week.
I was ready.
I was ready.
I know, I have my calendar here.
Let's go home.
Eric and I were on it.
Yep.
Okay,
I'll go with Eric.
yes.
Right.
Do we need a motion to adjourn?
I think we do. It's an action item on the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I.
I don't think it matters if you're.
Yeah, you're opposed. Be online.
You can just say no.
Thank you, everyone.
You guys.